Once again, I made it on time, right at 8, at least by my computer's time. Happy Sunday, everyone. How's everyone doing this weekend? How's everyone doing, I guess, this week? We're at the end of our Sunday. I know some people probably are upset that your team may have lost yesterday or tonight. Hopefully, you're not a part of one of those crews. Hopefully, you're like me and your team lost months ago, basically. So, yeah, how's everyone doing tonight? People are kind of quiet in the chat. Usually we get a little bit of chatter going beforehand, but how's everyone doing tonight? As usual, we'll give people a few minutes to get on in here. What's up, Bible Clan member? Welcome back. How you doing? Hey, Raidnor, how you doing this beautiful Sunday, this weekend? I don't know where you all are located, but here in Baltimore, yesterday was like 70 degrees and today it was like 68 degrees. It's been a pretty great weekend. I actually went to a cabin for my friend's birthday. Actually, happy birthday, Rich. I know Rich watches this sometimes, but happy birthday, man. Happy 30th. You know, you're the first of us to kind of test it out, see how it is, see if you like it, to let us know, you know, if we want to go ahead and turn 30 or stay 29 forever. So happy birthday, man. Hope you survived it. Hope you survived the party. Good evening. Hey, Cloud on Fleek. Hey, 88 Opus. I love that I'm starting to like you guys feel so familiar to me now. I love when I see your names pop up. You're my friends. It's also cool, but a little windy. Yeah, it's a little bit windy tonight, but it's been amazing. I mean, especially midwinter, especially middle of January, like getting a 70-degree day is just super amazing. So it's pretty great. Oh man, I'm trying to think. I had something to tell you all. I completely forgot. But tonight, this is, for anyone new, this is the DevOps Bootcamp. This is the start of week 2 to both of our bootcamps. We run a DevOps Bootcamp. We also run a Python Bootcamp that's running right now. This one is Sunday, Tuesday. The other one is Monday, Wednesday. Yeah, and we're just starting up a new week. Maybe we'll start off by just taking a look at what to expect for this week. I think there's only like 2 people's messages I didn't get to respond to. Like, I'm finally caught up. You guys, I definitely underestimated the initial wave of messages and things that I got. So I worked with a lot of people to kind of get everything sorted out. Just try to respond to everything. So if I didn't respond to you yet, you're part of the, like, I promise you're like part of like 4 or 5 messages that are left that I just didn't have time to hit. So I will definitely get to you tonight. But now that I'm caught up, you should get pretty quick answers from me. I'm not saying immediate, but it shouldn't be a week anymore. It should definitely be a day or 2. Make sure the Discord channel, perfect, exactly. You made it there. That's all that matters. I'll share the Discord link again tonight, and then I meant to make some instructions this weekend for people who just weren't familiar with Discord and the Twitch integration, like myself. But it'll like find it for you, which is interesting. That's cool. The Google Playground. I just subscribed but never got an email. All right, I'll send you. Hey, Beckford, I'll go ahead and send you the stuff now. 1 second. Let me go ahead and grab it. Oh, you're from Coding Garden. Awesome. Welcome, Andrew Lane. I appreciate you stopping through. Tonight, we're going to be doing some Golang, actually. We're going to be learning some Go. Actually, I don't want to say Golang. It's not Golang. I've been saying that a lot, but people who are passionate about Go, I will tell you, it's just Go. But when you're Googling things on the internet, you need to type in Golang to find out a lot of stuff, because the word Go is pretty ambiguous and can come up for anything. So let's see here. Let me just find the instructions that I have. And I'm actually just going to send this out again. Sorry for all the subs, me blowing up your inbox. I'm going to go ahead and send it out one more time. I think I'm going to send it out every Sunday. So you can start sending me to spam if you need to. But just to make it a little bit easier. And then I'm going to recommend that. Oh, no. Actually, because I don't have any instructions for Discord, I'm not going to do that. But because the Discord, I believe, is sub only, I'm gonna start putting the information in the Discord so that you can just grab it from there. And then I'll give you, instead of giving out this message every time, I'll give you instructions below on how to get to the Discord. So I'll work on setting that up tonight. But I'm gonna send this, if you're subscribed, you're gonna get this email in a second. You're definitely gonna get this email in a second. Let me send this off really quick. Next time around, this will be much easier, especially with the Discord in place. Now I know why so many people have their own Discord communities for things like this. It does allow for a lot easier management. As much as I love Slack. Again, we're gonna still keep the Slack around for sure, but Discord makes it does make it easy to manage, at least with Twitch. Maybe one day we'll try to figure out maybe one day we'll build some Slack integrations or something between the two to see if we can get some stuff set up. That would be exciting. I forget this every time. How do I get to the screen where I can send you all stuff? Here we go. Community insights. Email to my subs. Weekly access to Google Classroom. Again, send me to your spam filter if I'm blowing you up. Just sent out, check your email. It'll come from Twitch. It will not come from my personal email address. It will come from Twitch. So check your spam filters, check all that stuff. But you should be good to go there. If not, definitely join the Slack. You can join the Slack with a little # Slack command. And message me personally in there and I'll get you all sorted out after this is over with, especially since I'm caught up. Like I said, I worked hard this weekend. I'm caught up on most of the messages. So I should be able to get to you immediately, since now I don't have 4,500 messages to go through. Slides tonight. Yes, there are absolutely slides tonight. And let's go ahead and pull those up now and get you guys a link to the slides in case you want to follow along. Let's see. There we go. Let's go. No, deep dive. Here we go. So we're going to go with, nope. We're on, oh no, this is it. This is the one that we're on. Let me go ahead and get you the share link once again. Thanks for asking that, 88 Opus. DevOps, we'll figure out if there's a way that we can automate this process, or I'll just, yeah, I'm gonna try to automate this process. More options. Anyone with a link, save it. And let me go ahead and get this link. Go ahead and share it out right here. So, I think we have a decent amount of slides tonight. So I want to be very clear with everyone about what tonight's going to be, because I think that for some people this is going to be a little bit. For some of you, this is going to be a little bit overwhelming. So I want you to know what to expect as we're hopping into this. So tonight we're going to be, at least on for the DevOps Bootcamp. The DevOps Bootcamp covers a massive amount of topics over a pretty short period of time. So while everything will be covered from a beginner's point of view, like we just won't start in the middle of anything, it will not cater. The speed won't cater to beginners. So what does that mean? That does not mean don't participate. That does not mean don't watch this. It means that for things like installation, we will be going over installation. Like I said, everything's going to be starting from scratch, but we won't spend a lot of time sitting around and trying to solve problems with it. The good thing about Go, and another reason why I chose Go, is because there's an online thing for you to follow along with. So while we're going through and installing it, go ahead and try to get it installed. But if you're having trouble, don't sweat it. Again, we're talking about the concepts. Getting it installed isn't super important. You can follow along with the Go Playground. We're gonna hit the Go Playground so you can just do it in the web. But the concepts are what are important. We're gonna be focusing on the concepts tonight. So don't sweat that. We're gonna be going through that. Now, again, we're gonna be covering a lot in Go between today and Wednesday. So if you're completely new to programming, the pace is gonna feel fast. That's okay. I encourage you, for anyone who's trying to learn DevOps and is not necessarily interested in programming, this is a good entry point for you to get you you're gonna get hands-on here. You're gonna get introduced to a lot of different computer science concepts or just basic programming concepts. And it's up to you afterwards to kind of build upon that. Again, we're going to kind of touch on everything because it's the intro to DevOps, and you're going to go ahead and expand from there. But if you want to get deeper, you should join the Python course. So the Python course is going to move much slower than this because, again, it's an introduction to coding with Python. So people, I think people forget how difficult it was for them to start learning the first time they were doing things, and they want to move at a blistering pace because they already have the concept down. They just want to know how to do it with this language. That's not what we're doing. That's kind of what we're doing with this one, but not so much with the Python one. So this is your first time learning how to code, and you want to learn how to code a little bit better. Follow the Python one as well. I think you'll get a lot out of both, but don't sweat it. If you're lost, pick up. We're gonna be concepts. Don't worry about the syntax. We're gonna have some fun here. So cool. Let's see. So hopefully that sets some of the expectations for you. Again, I think what we do in these first two courses of these two Golang courses this week is like the first 6 weeks of Python. I'm pretty sure it's like the first 6 weeks of Python. So again, don't sweat it. I have to install Go on my laptop. We can definitely try. Definitely, if you can get it installed, definitely get it installed. If not, for now, you can use a Go Playground, but we are gonna try to get it installed on your laptop. Recipes that emoji. I wouldn't even recommend Go for Prisma over TypeScript. I actually don't know what Prisma is, so I'm actually gonna. That's it. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna first just look up Prisma. Let's see if I find anything. I'm not sure. Maybe you're talking about the photo. Maybe this. I don't know. I don't really know what Prisma is. I don't really have a recommendation for that. Do you have any tips for us beginners to cope with it? That's a great question. So yes, again, one, focus on the concepts. And so I'm gonna heavily focus on the concept rather than the code. Don't actually focus on the code that I'm writing. Focus on the concept that I'm trying to teach. And that's what the slides are for. And then seeing it in code and us practicing it in code is going to be pretty valuable just to kind of drive home those concepts. Two, if we move past something that you don't understand, write everything down. Everything that you just didn't get, everything that's like words I said that you just are not familiar with, anything like that, write it down. After this, you should be putting in time throughout the week, looking those things up, watching YouTube videos on it. See if you can watch a longer tutorial, or maybe just a different tutorial taught by somebody else. Maybe they can fill in some of those gaps and teach you in a way that's better for you. Look up some documentation, things like that. I would say that. And two, one of the things I try to express to people is that it's okay. It is. One of the goals of this program is to get comfortable with being lost, really get comfortable with not truly understanding, and being confident that you can really pick up the tools to dive deeper on your own afterwards, and using the community. So join the Slack channel and reach out for concepts that you just didn't fully grasp. Sometimes it might take you a while. Like there's concepts that took me months for it to click. Years for it to click. There's concepts I don't understand still, but don't sweat that at all. Just kind of go with it, write stuff down, try to pick up as much as you can, for sure. Let's go replacement for Bash scripts for DevOps. No, not really. If anything, Python's a replacement for Bash scripts in DevOps. Go is used a little more formally than that. I think a lot of tooling is what a lot of people do with Go. Definitely scripts and automation. We'll be talking about lambdas and things. But yeah, I definitely don't think it's a replacement for Bash scripts. I mean, it would be much easier to just write a Bash script to do a lot of the things that Bash is good for. Ahar did it on desktop already. Awesome. Prisma.io. Let's check this out. Oh, it's an ORM. Okay. Actually, let me pull it up on here. Probably. I don't know. I don't know if Go would be better for this. This is interesting. Places of traditional. I want to check this out because ORMs are cool, but we'll talk about ORMs in this, I believe. But yeah, I'm not sure. That's interesting. Maybe we can check. That's something we can check out. I love types. Got Overwatch installed, and my desktop is being hogged by my. Hey. I played some Overwatch this weekend. I'm this close to plat for the first time. I'm like 24, 80 or something like that. So I'm super close to plat. It's for support. I don't really play support, but I'm pretty good with I'm pretty good with Baptiste. So I'm getting there. I'm like 23 or 2300 for everything else for tank and DPS. So I think this is gonna be the season that I get up to plat finally. So TypeScript. So I like TypeScript a lot. Go is my favorite programming language, and I deal with JavaScript a lot, and I prefer, once I found out about TypeScript, it makes me just feel so much better about it. Am I tearing it with Ash? Yeah, Ash is my favorite DPS character. I'm pretty good with Ash as well now. All right, so tonight's a lot, so we're gonna go ahead and really get started. Hey, Abe Weezy, I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you for the follow. All right, let's get going because, like I said, tonight is a lot. All right, we already did an introduction to programming. We already talked about that stuff. So now we're gonna be focusing on Golang specifically. So what is Golang and why are we using it? So Go is an open source programming language that makes it easy to build simple, reliable, and efficient software. Pretty standard, par for the course description of a programming language. It's always gonna sound something like that. But remember, pick out keywords. If you watch the intro to programming thing, pick out keywords like efficient right there. Remember, this is you don't know yet, but this is a statically typed, compiled programming language. And remember, we talked about efficiency here. So simple, reliable, and efficient. And it may not seem that way at first, like simple may not seem that way at first, but I assure you it is a pretty simple programming language to write once you get a little bit deeper and you start comparing it to other things. It was designed at Google by Robert Griesemer, Rat Pike, and Ken Thompson. So the reason that's important is because it was designed at Google to solve problems that Google had. Google works at a scale that most of us will never operate at. Go is so quick, it's so fast, it's a great systems language because, again, it was designed to solve problems at a pretty immense scale. And it is a statically typed, compiled programming language. Again, we talked about that. So types matter. It does not try to infer types. And it's compiled. So before we can run it, we have to compile it. Go's a little different in this case. It gives you some tools to be able to just run your code pretty quickly, but it is a compiled language. So why are we using Golang? I get this question nonstop. For this, why are we using this as opposed to Python or something else? One, it's compiled. Because it's compiled, I generally think, and the many times I try to start learning how to program and in teaching programming, and if you're gonna try to pursue programming, I think going to compiled language first is nice for a number of reasons. I think it has a little more rules that you have to learn up front, which helps as you move to other languages. I think there are concepts that apply specifically with typing, obviously, but there's some concepts that exist here that don't exist in an interpreted language, and I think those things are good to get out of the way up front. And I think it's easier to move from something like this to an interpreted language and not be so confused. I actually think going from something like Python or JavaScript to something like Go is really jarring. I think it's really jarring. So I think it's better to go this way. Also, I probably wouldn't be choosing Golang if Golang wasn't so simple in the way that it's written. Like I wouldn't do Java over this, even though I want to do a compiled language. I probably wouldn't pick a compiled language if Go didn't exist, but it does. So that's what we're doing that. Two, again, I said it's statically typed. That introduces a number of concepts that other interpreted languages don't give you. It's very explicit. So there's not a lot of magic in Go. Some languages, again, like JavaScript, Python, Ruby, there's a lot of magic that happens. They give you a lot of functions that do just a bunch of stuff for you. And so Go, because there's not a lot of magic that happens, you have to be very explicit in the things that you're writing. So you have to be intentional about what you're saying and you're trying to do, and you kind of have to spell everything out. So that's good. And then readability. It is very easy to read. It's pretty easy to read. And it has a built-in formatter, so everyone's Go code will look the same. If you write the same code, even if it's not originally written that way, Go will format it for you, and it'll look the same. So all of our code, I can paste it in for you, and it'll look the same. And I think that helps for this. Also, I didn't put on here, but a lot of DevOps tools are built in Go. So learning Go may help you be able to extend those tools, maybe able to help you contribute to some of those tools, I think, which is cool as well. All right, first thing we're gonna run into is actually, hold on. First, let me check how many slides we have. All right, cool. We'll have some time to mess around. So first thing is a Go playground. So let me go ahead, and I always, even though this is here, I usually just Google Go playground. Go playground. I'll paste this link for you. So we'll get Go installed, but this is where you can go to just mess around right now. And it allows you to basically write Go code. You don't get any cool colors or color formatting or things like that, but it works. And you can format your code and you can run code, and it'll go ahead and it'll spit out output here. I know that's weird again because Go is a compiled language. Basically, all that's happening is the server that this is running on at Google is basically compiling your code, running it and spitting you back the output. So head over here. We definitely need EM colors. I'm definitely gonna be using an editor for a lot of the stuff tonight, but Go Playground, we'll use it so you can see how it works, but it is absolutely a cool thing. Rob Pike, creative Golang, think syntax highlighting is for children. Well, I'm a child. I'm absolutely a child. You can tell Rob Pike that right now. That doesn't hurt my feelings in the least bit. Syntax highlighting is great. He's an adult, and I am okay. I'm okay being a child. It doesn't bother me at all. Helps me a lot. And I don't like this. I don't like my brain. I'm sure that I can get used to it. My brain doesn't like it though at all. Visual Library C class 4, okay. All right, so Go Playground, I just want to introduce you to this. Let's talk about what some of these things are. So remember I said Go has a built-in formatter. And so a lot of the times, especially in the editors, I'm gonna have you install some extensions in VS Code, which will do this for you automatically. But when you go ahead and click this format button, you can see how it goes ahead and it fixes this stuff. I could be all weird and click format. I can't format that, but if you have extra spaces and tabs or all that, it doesn't really matter. Go can go ahead and get that together for you to make sure everything is good to go there. Imports allow just importing of packages. So you can click that if you need to run some tests and import some packages. And then obviously run goes ahead and it runs it. And you can go ahead and type down here and modify, and we can say hello stream, and we can run it and it runs. So if you're completely new to programming, this is a safe place for you to mess around. So if you break everything, you can go ahead and you can reload it, which is nice. So if you just want to mess around and kind of, after we go through some stuff tonight and you want to try some stuff, this is a good place to do it. Also, if you have code that's not working or you do something cool, you can go ahead and share it, and it'll go ahead and it'll give you this link that you can share with someone that will allow them to run, basically take them here and allow them to run your code. And it is pretty, that's pretty cool as well. So just if you need something like that. Does Go not use semicolons, or is it optional? Great question. Go does not use semicolons for the source code. So we talked about source code versus all the other steps. So the source code is the code that you write, the code that we're going to be writing. This right here is source code. Go does not use semicolons in the source code for a couple of things that it does. I think there are a few things that it does use it for. But I believe the semicolons are there. I believe they're put in by the compiler during compilation time. I actually think it does stick in a bunch of semicolons, just not in the source code that we are writing. So so you do not need to worry about semicolons here at all, which is pretty nice. And another reason why I like Go. For import, does the parent parentheses indicate that you can add more than one library? I've seen the import without them. Yes, absolutely. So so this import statement is importing a package that you can use, and a single package would be like this. But for any more, you could do multiple import lines if you'd like. But I think the preferred method is to do this. and it'll go, and you can just go ahead and in here you can do package 1. Yeah, and then just keep listing your packages out here for you to use. And yeah, that's what you can do with that's what the parentheses indicate. So that was a great question. All right, now that we have that, again, so these are the types of things I'm talking about for beginners as people start just like asking questions and I start answering questions, or people in the chat are answering questions that are like different from anything that you don't know what we're talking about import, and things like that. Write that down on a piece of paper. And then as we're going through, if like we start to cover it and now you understand it, cross it off. But if not, it's something that you can go back and you can either ask questions about, go get more information about, because there's going to be a lot that that on first pass through, you're gonna be like, man, I didn't know any of that. But again, the goal is to just pick up a few major concepts here, and we haven't even gotten to those concepts yet. So we're in the interim right now. All right, so let's get cracking for Go installation. So Go installation should be quite simple on everything except for Linux, to be 100% honest. I don't think that they provide easy Linux installs. I think they give you some tarballs and stuff, which is easy for someone who's been dealing with Linux for a while. But they don't provide any super easy installers. Your package manager for whatever Linux distribution you're using is probably pretty good and will probably go ahead, probably have it, but it might not be the most up-to-date version. Like I know if you're using Debian and you try to install it, I think it installs 1.10 or something like that, and they are up to 1.13, I believe. But we can click on it. We can click on the link here, and I'll share it in a second. But you can download it and it'll give you some different, there's a couple different things you can get, but I'm pretty sure for Mac and for Windows, I'm pretty sure it just goes through and has an installer for you to use, like an MSI installer, and for Mac, whatever that thing is called. But if you want to get the installer, what's happening here? You can type in one of these things. So go Mac, go Windows, go Linux. It'll take you to the place where you can go ahead and get those things installed. My Ubuntu has no Go package. I had to install from the tarball. Really? You might have to do an update, but yeah, I'm sure there's a PPA as well. Cool. So yeah, you can do these. These probably need to be updated. Oh no. So the links will, I guess, install an older 1.12 for you. That's fine, no big deal. This sudo app get installed Golang, yes. Long belly, can you do a Go -- version? Can you do like can you open up a terminal? Open up a terminal somewhere and just do a Go -- version. I don't know what version I have. Oh no, maybe it's just Go version. Sorry, forgot Go's a little different. Go version. So I have 1.11, so I have an older version installed on mine. No big deal. We're not going to be doing anything in this course that like requires you to have the latest version at all. I think 1.13 has they introduced, a new packaging system and some other things. No big deal. Cool. Yeah. All right. That's cool. So you have a later version to me. All good. I'll update mine later. So you can use one of, let's put this back below, move this up. Cool, so you can use one of those things. If you didn't install VS Code with us last week, you can do it, what's ! VS Code, and it'll give you a link to Visual Studio Code to be able to get the Visual Studio Code installed so that you can do some text editing if you did not, again, get that done last week. So take a few minutes. Everyone just try to get Go installed if you can. You're having some issues, ask a question or two, but we're not going to sit on this for too long, but I want to give everyone the opportunity to kind of get caught up, get up to speed, because we're going to be messing around a lot shortly. Let's see. I don't even know if I have. Let's go ahead and set up a directory for Go right now. Mastermind. Forgot I had all this stuff in here. I'm gonna make a streams directory. I like using caps. I don't know why, it's dumb. Oh, forgot about this. I really dislike ZSH a lot. Only because I'm used to Bash. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad shell. I'm used to something else. having a lot of trouble. So let's make another directory. Let's call it. Oh man, I'm trying to learn how to type. I can't type. MK there. Let's call this Go DevOps. So I don't think it's something else. All right, so we have a little folder here that we're going to be working out of. Cool. Didn't think to app to get install Golang, not even once. Oh wow, that is excellent. That's actually really good. Why not just move GP Go DevOps? Yep, I could have done that. Definitely could have done that. Just have it. Just complete habit. I usually only move things that have stuff inside them. Definitely could have done that as well. All right, so VS Code setup, pretty simple. I'll open up code right here, and all you need to do to get the Go extension, remember the extension's over here on the left. You can go ahead and click the extensions thing, and if you just type in Go up top, it'll be the first one, and you can go ahead and click install there. Solve accept. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the stream. What's Go's most common web framework? I think it's something called Buffalo, actually. Let's see here. I'm gonna pull this up really quick. Yeah, I think I believe it's Buffalo. Pretty sure. I thought about messing around with it. I was actually gonna originally build most of my sites with Buffalo, with the Mastermind site as well as the Academy site. And I did not, because I didn't feel like learning it, because I don't like web development. So I just use Hugo, which is a static site generator written in Go. But I'm pretty sure Buffalo is the top web framework, I believe. All right, so go ahead and get the extension installed. Revel, let me see. I don't know anything about that. Revel, Go. Maybe this is pretty popular. I've actually never heard of this one, but could be. All these could be great. I have no clue because I don't use Go for these purposes. But maybe one day I'll try. A hot reload flow control. Maybe we'll check one out one day on one of the streams. Maybe we'll check out a web framework. That might be pretty fun. Maybe we'll build a quick website or a quick application to start putting on servers and stuff when we get to the AWS section or something. That might be cool. So yeah, go ahead and get that Go extension installed so that you can get some cool stuff. What the Go extension does is it gives you some syntax highlighting, but it also gives you some tools. Like if I open up a new like test.go file, I think there's a way for you to get the whole like, I think there's a way for it to get like the whole boilerplate stuff. And I can also show you guys one day how to set up like easy things like that in VS Code, because it's pretty easy to do. But yeah, so now you get some stuff that it knows like funks, and it can give you some advice on what you want to use. On what you want to type, what you want to use. We can go ahead and get set up here. I'll just get a main file set up. Let's go ahead and import. So it'll actually import packages for us, which is nice. I'm gonna show you guys that in a second. And it'll set up my function like this. All right, so this is the base setup for Go. Again, this is not important. We're not here yet. We're not really there yet. I was just setting up a file. But I do want you to see how it's the same thing as the Go Playground minus this. What I have is this package main, import, and func main. So it's the same setup. This will be the basic boilerplate that you're gonna need for any Go code, but we'll get back to that in a second. Let's get back on track. Because what do we have? 834, all right, I think we'll be good. All right, we put it back in here. Focus on the concepts. Focus on the concepts. So, what is that? Vegerat. If you're looking for my OS, that's a good command I might throw in there. This is PopOS. It is made by System 76. It's a Ubuntu based distribution, but customized for System 76 laptops and desktops. But anyone can use it for their stuff. But you can download it. It's Ubuntu based, not Debian based. But Ubuntu is Debian based. So yes, but it's basically a reskinned Ubuntu with some tools and utilities for System 76 to be able to manage your firmware and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. But it's nice. It's fast. It looks good. There's a lot of support for it. So that's what I use. All right. Again, focus on the concepts. The concepts are really important. You want to learn how, you want to understand the concepts so that you can move to whatever programming language you want. It's not super important that you learn Go. Everything that we talk about tonight is going to be applicable to another programming language. So if you're someone who's in the Python bootcamp, the stuff that you're going to see tonight is the stuff that we're going to be doing all week. Just from tonight, we're going to be doing that stuff all week, maybe not even all of it. And it's going to apply directly to Python. So hear the concept, here's talk about it, see it in action, do your best to capture the concept, not necessarily how to type it and how to do it, and then check it out in Python when we do it. It'll just make more sense. What's the difference between Debian based and Ubuntu based? I thought Ubuntu was reskinned Debian. All good. We can talk about that later, but it is not. It is definitely heavily based. It's a little more than reskinning. Ubuntu is just a little more than reskinning. But yes, that's a deep conversation as someone who is a big Linux guy. Yeah, concepts important. All right, first thing we're gonna do. We've already seen this, but when you're working with a programming language, one of the first things that you want to do, that you want to be able to do, is display output. You want to be able to display output. You want to basically be able to take something out of your program and show the world or whoever it is that you want to see it. You want them to be able to see it. Hey, OS the Librarian, thanks for the follow. So how do you display output? This is going to be the first thing you're going to do in pretty much any programming language. And in Golang, we're just going to print it. Same thing in Python. I think we've already showed you this, but you just go ahead and print it. But in Go, so Go uses the thumped package. That is how it is commonly pronounced in the Go community. I call it the FMT package usually. I think I was calling it the format package, and someone told me that may be incorrect. I don't know. Thumped seemed weird, but people call it the thumped package. Or the FMT package. And this is the package that you're going to be using to display output, to print output. So the thumped package includes the necessary tools to print output to the console. And so you can see here, I have 3 different print functions. So these are all different. Well, kinda. And we're going to talk about the difference between the 3 of these here. So, yeah, format seems right to me. That's what I thought, but someone told me I might be wrong, but they didn't have any concrete evidence. So I just went back to FMT because that's definitely right. FMT can't be wrong. So I went back to that. But fmt.print, you can see fmt.println or printline, and fmt.printf. So let's hop into what this means. So again, displaying output. You've already seen this. You've already seen this as we went to the Go Playground. If you go to the Go Playground by itself, you get this, and you can see here that FMT is already imported. So it is a package. So Go has a pretty vast, what's called the standard library. So the standard library is simply the library of tools that Go gives you to be able to solve problems. So these are things that they maintain. These are things that are core to the Go language. And their standard library is pretty robust. We're gonna take a look at some documentation in a second. But you've got to, it does take some time to get to know what tools are available to you, what tools you have to be able to solve your problem. So the FMT package is the one that you use to print things. And so you can see here, we're using FMT, and this time we're using printline here. By default, we're using printline, and we're printing the string hello world. I'm gonna try to use the words to describe these things pretty often, so you can hear them, so you can get comfortable hearing them. So I'm gonna do my best to remember to say them as often as possible. So format.println or fmt.println, the string hello playground, and you go ahead and run it, and it displays the output. So this is we're actually going to take this program and run it in VS Code or in our editor in a second, and I can show you how to get Go code to run. But you can see that it displays output. So let's copy this because I'm lazy and I don't want to type it. Let's go to VS Code. This hurts my soul. I really want to use Vim. I wish I might in a second. But let's paste it in. Now we get some cool colors. You didn't have colors before. Now you got some colors. This is great. We're gonna make it a bit bigger. Did it get bigger? Yeah, there we go. I got bigger. Cool. We'll put that on the side. So you copy that, you pasted it in. And again, right now, you can follow along, but what I want you to do is, again, listen for the concepts. Listen to understand what print is, print line. So we've got this in here, and what we can do to run it is VS Code has its own terminal built in. And so when you see it pop up on my screen, that is because I hit Control. If you hit Control and tilde, so that's the little squiggly line like this, or backtick, it should be right under your escape key. If you hit Control tilde, it brings up a terminal inside of VS Code, which is pretty cool. And so you have that available to you. But first thing I want to do is I pasted it in. I'm going to save this file. I'll bring the terminal back up into run Go code. So I have this test.go file here. You just simply type in go, run, and the name of the file. So test.go. And this is how you run a Go file. So you make changes to the code, you save it, you run Go, run, the name of the file. And you can see here, it output here. And actually, I don't like this because the way ZSH is picking up in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to the other, but this even one below. All right, so we can run it here. This terminal is the same terminal as the one that was in VS Code. If I do go, run test.go, we get hello playground. And so we get the output that we expected. So let's take a look back at our code. We wanted to print the string hello playground. Again, a string is, think, words and phrases. How do you know it's a string? How do you identify this as a string without having to, write some code to figure that out? Again, whenever you see double quotes, in just every language, single quotes in many languages, but double quotes in this language, think string, words and phrases. So we're printing out the string. We're displaying the output of this string out to the screen. So that's all we did. That's all we did here is we ran the file and it went ahead and displayed output. So just also want to provide some context around like this formatting. So we ran print line and then we put this in parentheses. So this is actually a function. This print line is a function. We'll talk about functions. Functions are just reusable pieces of code. So this function goes ahead and it'll print anything that's in here. And so basically we're providing this string as input into that function. We'll go into that later. And then it spits it out. And so that's what we have going on here. So, that is how we display output. And so that's print. Remember, pay attention. I showed you 3 different print functions. That's print line. We're about to see what the difference is between print line, print, and printf. And maybe, and actually, we're vimming this because I'm tired of going to new screens. And I think it's confusing and I don't think it's important. I think seeing the code, I think, is important. So we did print line. Now let's do print. Actually, let's go ahead and copy this line. Yank that, paste it. Let's, so the first one is print. Let's make the second one print line. Let's make the last one print F. So these are all 3 things. And so we ran print line already. I'm gonna comment out this. So comments in coding languages and programming languages basically say, hey, interpreter or compiler, do not try to do anything with these lines of code or these lines of text. Ignore them, pass over them. So when I compile it or run the code, because I put these comments in, you can see how they change colors. But in Go, it's 2 slashes to make a comment. It basically says, hey, don't pay attention to these lines of code. This is what this allows you to do is to be able to put in comments. I mean, so like Sorry, comments are you can put in information about your code. So I can say, I can do something like this. I can put in something to describe what my code is. I can say, this is a function that prints hello world to the user. So I can say something like this, and this can be very descriptive and it can be helpful to you if you were looking at this code to know what it does. But that's what comments are for in coding languages. And so by doing that, I can make this ignore these 2 lines of code. So remember, we just saw what print line did, but now we're gonna check out and see what print does. So I'm gonna save this and let's run this code again. And print, see, we're going back to bash. Man, there's a problem. That's a huge, I think I learned that too. We're gonna talk about this in a second. I think someone just asked about this. You're about to learn, you're about to learn about my gripes for ZSH. So hey, do you know how to make VS Code terminal in VS Code use your .profile? It should use it by default, because it's just another shell session of the computer. So it should use the .profile. I don't, yeah. Yeah, but VS Code that's super weird. That is really weird. What shell do you use? So I was giving ZSH a chance because Max was switching to ZSH and because everyone told me some great things about it. But what you just saw, what you just saw completely undermined what the functionality of Go is, or what it was intended to do. This is why I don't like ZSH. ZSH tries to be helpful to the user, and I found so far in actuality that what it does is, yes, it tries to add some creature comforts, but it causes a lot of confusion, especially around development, because again, it tries to do things that weren't intended to happen. There are specifics of Linux, there are specifics of programming languages, as these things matter, but ZSH does not do them properly. So we're gonna hit clear. So now I'm running bash. I was running ZSH. You can see how the colors changed. Now I'm running bash. So go run test.go. All right, so take a look at this. This is the proper output. There's a proper output right here. And you can see here, it did run Hello Playground. It spit it out. But this looks different from what we got before. And it put Hello Playground right next to my, my prompt here. Why did it do that? So let's take a look back at our code. And actually, before we figure out why it did it, let's take a look at what print line does. Let's take a look at what each of them does first. We'll take a look at what print line does. All right. And then, I know you didn't get to see that. I know I went past it. We're gonna go back. Just remember the order: print line, print F. That's what we did. All right, so let's take a look at how this operated. It's the behavior of what we just did. So this first run was just print. It was just the print command, fmt.print. Actually, no, sorry. This one was print. And so you can see it spit it out. And then it put my prompt right next to the output, the output that it displayed. Then we changed it to print line and ran it. And then it put out the output, and then it put my prompt below it. And then we ran print F, and it did the same thing as print did. Very interesting. Very interesting. So why did it do that? So the reason it did that is because, let's take a look back at these, and I'll put comments next to these so you read them. So print simply prints what you pass to it. And that's what it did. It printed it, and then it put my new prompt so I could enter new information right next to it. Now, this one is why it went to the next line. So print line, it prints what is passed to it and adds a new line character. So the when you press enter on your keyboard, it's actually passing a character to the computer just the same way as if you pressed A or B. This character is actually this right here. It's actually a man, I already forgot. It's leaning backwards. It's leaning backwards. The feet, you guys taught me this. It's leaning backwards. So that's a backslash. It's actually /N. And you can see how it changed colors there. You can see how Go, it's, even though it's inside of the quotes, it is part of the string, but you can see how it's evaluating it a little bit different. That's why I changed colors. It's showing you that it's something a little bit special. And so basically, print line, it just inserts one of these at the end. So imagine print line is having a /N down here for new line. So that character says, hey, when you get to this character, go ahead and insert a new line underneath. So that's what print line does. That's the difference between print and print line. So if you want a new line to be inserted at the end, you're going to use print line. So print line is almost like print line. You're usually going to be using print line. I almost never use print. And even when I do use print, I add in this /n. So you'll see here, I can, these two lines, 8 and 9, these are the same thing. So print line without the /n and print with the /n actually do the exact same thing. Print line is just a way they give you to be able to do it. It's interesting because it's not even a new, like it's not even less characters to type, but you do have those options here. So you can use either one, but just know that one is going to give you a new line and one isn't. So it's very, I don't know, it's pretty cool. But like I said, you're usually going to be using print line over print. And if you do need to use print to give it a new line, you can add in manually a /n, and it will go ahead and insert that for you, and it will move to the next line. Now, what is printf? So printf, it operates like print. So like fmt dot print. It's capital, but allows for formatting, for output formatting. So what does this mean? So this allows you, we haven't even talked about variables yet. We're about to talk about variables in a second, but basically what it allows you to do is to be able to format the way that this thing is output. It allows you to insert things in certain places, and it allows you to kind of just set up the string so that it can print out what you want. So if I wanted to print hello and my name, so let's say I want to, instead of printing hello world, so we're not going to use print, we'll use print line. We'll comment that out. Let's say I want to say hello Aaron. I can say hello Aaron just like this. And if I go ahead and run this, it'll go ahead and it'll say hello Aaron. You can see it also says hello playground. That's because we left that uncommented, but it did spit out hello Aaron. Now, we're gonna talk about variables in a second, but just to give you a sneak peek on printf, and we'll dive deeper into printf once we talk about variables. But let's say I wanted to set my name equal to Aaron so that the whole program could use it. I say my name is Aaron. And what I could do here is I could say, hey, print, go ahead and whenever you see this, insert my name, and I'll pass in a name. I know it's super confusing. Don't sweat it. This is like, it's confusing if this is your first time seeing it, but it's just allowing me to put, pass a variable into here. It's called string interpolation, and there's more to it, but just know that F stands for formatting, and it allows you to format the output of this. There are other ways to format it. We're not going to dive super deep into it. Just know that it allows you to format things. And if I run this, they both say hello Aaron. And there's some other things that you can do with the format function. I'm going to show you the Go documentation shortly, so that you can check that out. But those are the differences between the 3 different print statements. So what did we just learn? Or again, focus on the concepts. You're brand new to this. What did we just learn? We learned that with Go, you can display output to the screen. How do you display output to the screen? That's using the package FMT. So using the FMT or FUMT or format package, that is how you display output to the screen, but specifically using the FMT.print functions, print line, so print ln or printf. These are the three different options you have to do this, and they added some functionality. What are the differences between the three? Basically, print will print what you pass to it. Print ln will print what you pass to it. But it'll add a new line character to the end. And printf will allow you to format the output however you like. Let's go with that for now. So those are the concepts that you just learned. Again, not important. It is not important for you to remember. Print with the open parenthesis and the two quotes and close and backslash. That's not the focus right now. The focus is that you understand that there's a way to display output. Again, this is across the board. So if you're in the Python bootcamp, you'll see us print out. So if you've already seen us print stuff, we'll print stuff. There are ways to format. So there's basically a printf in Python. It's not printf, but it's basically a printf. And so you'll see how these things go along. So print lnf, is that a thing? I don't think that's a thing. But yeah, it's not a thing. Cool. But how would you know what the differences between these things are? Like, how would you, if you wanted to look up the information on these, if you wanted to know how to format things, let's take a look at the Go documentation. So I'll pass you the link to this. I always just Google Go Docs. All right, so we're already there. That was the Go Docs are here, and you could do packages. Packages is where you would want to go to find out information about the packages that are available to you. It's overwhelming. The list is overwhelming. Don't sweat it. People will always, actually, I just saw a whole thread about this on Twitter. People always say, like, no one ever goes to the documentation anymore, blah, 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 blah. Reading technical documentation is a skill. It's an art. If anyone just sends you some documentation and they know you're a beginner or you're just learning some stuff, that can be problematic. Again, documentation is hard to read. It doesn't provide any context around the stuff that you're trying to learn. But it is a place that you can go to get information. So I don't expect you to be hopping into documentation immediately, but I do want you, again, because it is something that you should learn, head over, as you're learning things, if you're watching videos and following along with a video or something, head over here and see how this compares to what's being taught to you. So these are packages. We just learned that we needed to use the FMT package to print something. So we can look for the FMT package here. I did a Control F on the page and I just searched for it. That's how I found it. And you can see here, you can read what the package does. So package FMT implements formatted IO. So IO stands for input output with functions analogous to C's printf and scanf. Now, this is why technical documentation is garbage. This is actually really good documentation, but this is why I find it to be terrible and very difficult to learn. And I think technical documentation like this is why tech is so intimidating. One, the description of this package assumes that you know C. It just assumes that you know C already. So if I didn't know C, I don't know what printf and scanf are. So this description might not make any sense to me. And this is why some of this is tough, again, to parse through documentation. But we can click in here. It tells you what the import statement is that you need to use it. It doesn't tell you that that's what you need. It just kind of sticks it up here, but we know that's what you need. And then here it gives you it just starts giving you stuff. So the verbs, general, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of context around this. Now I know what this stuff means, only because I've gone through it a bunch, but it can be super confusing. But what you can do is in here, and this is really big, so it's hard to see, but in here is each of the functions that we were using. So things like, if we look for print, and it's going to be in here a bunch of times, maybe we'll search for print line. it'll take you to a section. Oh yeah, the index here. It'll take you to a section where you can look for the things that you need. So function, print line. So print line formats using the default formats for its operand and writes to W. Spaces are always added in between operands, and a new line is appended. Now, again, the way that they are describing this is tough to follow. It is really hard to follow. It takes some time to get good with it, but as you get better and better at understanding it, you can see here they give you an example, and like you can run it. And I don't know why I can't see it. Wow. Is it because, oh, there we go. It gives you some examples here, and maybe this example is good, maybe it's not. But fprint is a little bit different, but it's fine. But you can see here, it gives you the things that you need, but you got to understand how to look through it. So yeah, it's really annoying. Did I paste it in? Yeah, I pasted it in there. So you have access to it. It's actually pretty good technical documentation. The documentation is actually created automatically through comments. So basically, when Go is built, they put a bunch of comments in there that describe all this stuff, and then this documentation is automatically built. A very cool feature of the language. But yeah, so check out some technical documentation. If you're learning Python, search for some, and I will provide some to you as well. But start looking through it, seeing if you can start to understand it, because again, it takes some time. C is the third letter of the alphabet, not a programming language. While you're 50% correct, it is absolutely the third letter of the English alphabet, but it also is a programming language for sure. It is actually probably the center of every programming language that you know, probably. So like I'm pretty sure Go is built in C, built with C, so it's just like everything else. But yeah. Hello, Gifted Lane. Thanks for the raid. Hello, Gifted Lane's party. Welcome to the channel. We're learning a little bit of DevOps stuff. We're learning a little bit of programming tonight. Going over some programming concepts with the Go. So hopefully that is applicable to you. So welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, we just learned how to print stuff. Now, I just talked about variables. Let's move on a little bit more because there's a lot more to do. We only got an hour left. So variables, what is a variable? I have one slide for this because variables are a very important concept to understand. In all of your programming, all that is super important. So we're gonna talk about what a variable is now. So just finished streaming and was like, let's see. Yeah, awesome. That's usually what I do at the end of my streams as well. So thank you for heading over. We're a group practice for CCNA. That's awesome. I love, that just made my day. That made me so happy. I love when groups get together and, invest in each other, start to learn, practice things. That's why I'm glad everyone's here. Like, this makes me super happy that we're all just getting better at what we're trying to do moving forward. It's pretty awesome. I like that. I like the group thing going on. Group share, group think, group learn. So something I'm passionate about. But variables. Variables are simply, there's a box here with name on it. So you already saw me do this, but it's basically a placeholder. It's basically this box that holds a value. So one, what does the word variable mean? Variable means something that can change. It can be changed. Again, variable interest rates, continuously variable transmission. Variable is something that can be changed. So basically you have a value, a placeholder. So I'll set up a variable called name, and that name can hold a value. So at first it's just the box. I can set up the box first. And after I set up the box, I can put a value to that box. So now whenever we refer to that box, it now has the value of Maria. So we can set name equal to Maria. And then we can use that. So every time name is now referenced throughout our application, it represents the value of it rather than name. So whenever we reference name, it'll actually be Maria. And if we want to change it later, if we want to change our name later, we can change it to something else and it'll allow that. So again, it's a placeholder for a value. It doesn't have to be a string. It doesn't have to be a name. It could be a number, anything, but you'll use these variables very, very often. So anybody link for a slide? Okay, cool. Somebody shared it. Thank you. So you saw me just set up a variable. We're going to talk about the different ways you can set up a variable. And actually, let's make a new file. So variables.go. Hey, Jessica Jenkins, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. So you can see here, I have this file. We'll just set it up again. So I'm going to import. I don't need to import anything, but I want you guys to see some output. Remember, we got to use this FMT package to display output. Func. Every Go program needs a main function or it cannot run. Almost all, we'll talk about this a little bit more in a second, but every compiled language needs a main function, or every compiled language that I know of needs some type of main function to know where to start the program. And so we have this. So variables can be done in a few different ways. And so variables have two different pieces to them. So the first piece is called declaration. Oh no, sorry. It's called declaration, or it's called declaration. So we want to declare a variable. We want to declare that this variable is a thing. We actually, there's three parts. There's three parts of a variable. But sure, we need to declare that we have this variable. So to say that you want to like set up this box. So again, use the box for reference. If you want a box that represents a value, how do we get it? We get it by typing var. So in a lot of languages, it's going to be something like this, but I can say var name. And now I have a variable. And so it doesn't have a value, but it's just a placeholder. So now that I have a variable, I can assign it a value later on. So again, these are things that have to happen. You have to declare the variable. Then you have to assign it a value. And then if you use it, there's something called instantiation of the variable, but you have to declare it and you have to assign it a value. That's usually you always have to do that. In Go, you also have to instantiate it. You have to use it, or Go won't allow you to do anything. So let's say this was my program. So I set up a variable named name. And then let's say if I wanted to just do format that print ln hello Aaron, and I tried to run this application. I try to run this application here. I'm gonna run it really quick so you can see. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. So go run variables.go. I get an error here. This is important. Pay attention to these are the concepts on why I wanted to choose a compiled language first. I get this error here, and errors can be difficult to read, but it lets me know that this is the file that had the error. So variables.go, that's the thing that I tried to run. This is telling me on line 6, 13th character basically is where it started. Syntax error. Unexpected new line, expecting type. All right, so expecting type, what does that mean? Go is a statically typed language. Oh man, I'm struggling. I need to stop doing that. Basically, you can declare a variable like this in most languages, but Go is statically typed, so it needs to know what type this is. We talked about types before, and we know strings are, think, words and phrases and sentences. Think double quotes. We talk about numbers. We talk about integers, which are whole numbers. We talk about floats, which are decimals. We talk about some other things. Now let's talk about if you want to use your name, what's that going to be? It's probably going to be a word or a phrase. So it's going to be a string. So I have to tell it. I have to be explicit. Remember, Go's explicit. I have to say var name string. And so we set this up, and this is how you declare a variable in Go. Remember, declaring a variable is just setting up the space for you to use it, but it has no value yet. So let's try to run this. All right, Go will, as a compiled language, it does a lot of checks for you. And what does it say here? So it tells us the file again, tells us line 6, starting at character 6, name declared and not used. So in Go, you cannot set up a variable. You can't set up a variable and not use it. So we set up this name. We didn't use it anywhere. We set it up. Nowhere in here are we using name. I'll show you how we're going to use it in a second. But Go will not allow you to do that for a number of reasons. One, to keep clean code. It doesn't want you to have a bunch of stuff in there that you're not using. It makes it harder later on to debug, etc. But two, Go is very fast and efficient. It was made to solve the problems of Google. So due to that efficiency, when I compiled, we talked about what happens during compilation, during that translation phase, when it's translating it from your source code to what the computer can read. What it does here is when you declare var name, doing something like that actually takes some of your computer memory. So to be able to do something like that, it basically allocates some memory on your computer to be able to work with this, like that box takes up some of the memory on your computer. So because it's fast and it's efficient, it doesn't want to take up any unnecessary memory or any unnecessary resources from your computer. So it won't actually allow you to set it up and not use it, because again, it doesn't want to use anything that it's not going to really need. So I do have to use it. So how do you use something like this? How would I print name? So what do you think will happen if I do print line name? Now, how does name differ from the hello world that we have in here? Notice it doesn't have any quotes around it. If I put quotes around it, this is a string. But if I want to reference my variable, I just wouldn't put quotes around it, and it's going to reference the string. So let's see what happens when we print this out. Nothing happens, but we get a new line character. So we can deduce because we just learned about the print function, and specifically print line, and that print line actually inserts a new line character at the end. I ran it, and it looks like it skipped a little space. We didn't see any output, and it printed this out here. So it looks like it actually ran properly, but it didn't give us anything. Let's take a look back at our code. We tried to print a variable, which we did. But remember, I said we declared the variable. We declared it, but what's name equal to? Like, name is there, it's waiting. We made the box. We took this box and we wrote name on the side, and it's there waiting for us to use. But it doesn't have any value. There's nothing in the box. How do we put something in the box? We put something in the box by something called assignment. So this is, again, across the board. This is the same thing across the board, called assignment. No P7R, thank you for the follow. Now we're assigning. So name, actually, let me look at my slides really quick. I may be running past these things. No, I'm not. Cool. This is good. I remember I wanted to like be a free spirit on the variable section. So name equals. So it's very simple assignment. So we're assigning a value to name. So equals, a single equals in pretty much every language is an assignment operator. So what it does is it assigns the value that's on the right to the thing that's on the left. So name is on the left. And so that's the box sitting there waiting, and we're gonna assign it the value of my name. So my name is Aaron, string Aaron. So it's very important. I'll show you this in a second, but we're assigning name with the value Aaron here. So the thing we did here is, let me variable declaration. We declared the variable, and here we're gonna do variable assignment. All right, we declared it. Now we assigned it. Now let's see what happens when we do print. We can see here that name needed to be a string. I'll show you what happens if we don't make it a string next time. But we gave name now the value Aaron. And let's see what happens now when we print out name. When we print the variable, what happens? It prints out my name. So again, that variable is the box. The name that we assign to it is the value. And when we print that out, it prints out the value. So that variable is used to take a value and to be able to pass it around. Again, variables can change. So I assigned it once. Let's say I want to assign it. Actually, let's leave that here. I signed it once and I printed. Let's print it out there. But let's say let's say later on in my code, my code does a bunch of stuff. Maybe my name changes. Maybe I don't like my name, and my brother's name is Elijah. Maybe I like his name better than mine. And now I want to print name again. So the same print statement. We're gonna print here. So look at this. We're not doing anything different. We are declaring a variable. So variable declaration. We're saying, hey, we need this variable called name, And what we want to do is we want to assign it the value Aaron. So name is now equal to Aaron. We want to print that. Now we want to assign the value of name to be Elijah, and we want to print it. Let's take this code and let's see what happens. It prints Aaron first, prints Elijah second. Again, I told you that variables can be changed. The word variable means that it is something that can change. So it can change throughout your code. So you basically use it to track values. You create a variable if you have, a number that you're going to be increasing. Like we'll do a calculator example and stuff. But if you want to track the value of an object through your code, something that can be changed, a variable is what you would use. Now, what would happen if we tried to down here? What if we try to declare name again? What would happen if we try to do this? So we declared a variable once, we gave it a value, we printed it. Then we declared it again, gave it a name, tried to print it. Let's see what happens. Oh no, it failed. We got our error. What does it say? It tells us our file. So variables.go, that's the file we're working in. Line 10, starting at character 6, name redeclared in this block, previous declaration at line 6. So you can only declare a variable one time in your application. You cannot declare it more than one times. This will get way deeper when we get into scope, but you can only declare a variable a single time. So make sure you don't do that because it will not allow you to do that at all. It only allow you to declare it once, and then you can change it as many times as you like throughout the application. So we'll delete this. Delete this. All right. Cool. So what would happen if I statically type language? What would happen if I assign this to the value, maybe my age? So I'm 29 years old. What if I assign it to the value 29? And I tried to run it. We got another error on line 7. Cannot use 29, which is type int. We talked about types. Type int. What is an int? It's an integer. It's a whole number. So 29 is a whole number. Cannot use type int as type string in assignment. So this can be confusing when you're first reading it. Like, that's super weird. Like, what does that mean? We told Go that yes, we're setting up a space for name. We're setting up that box to hold the value for name. But we told Go that it's going to be a string. We said, hey, when you see name, when we assign a value to it, it's going to be a string. And what we did here is we tried to assign it a value of int. We tried to assign an integer value. So if I wanted to change that, obviously you should just change my name to be a string. But if you wanted to change it for some reason, we could go ahead and change this and say, hey, name should now be expecting an int instead of a string. So types, again, types are very important. We're about to re-go over types because they're super important. But let's leave this as is here. Cool. And let's see if they don't have any questions specifically about variables so far. Because we can dive a little deeper. I'm sure there's a million other ways I can explain it to help you get it if you need it. But let's see. If we want default value, we can do when we declare, right? Oh yeah. We're about to go over that in a second. Var name string equals len. I'm about to show you that. So yes, you can. Great question, Angry Mohawk. I'm going to show you a couple ways really quick you can declare and assign a variable at the exact same time in Go. In most languages you can. I just wanted to show you that they are separate steps, and this is the way that you could do it. Hopefully you understand declaration, like I need to declare variables need to be declared and they need to be assigned a value. So I wanted to show you them explicitly like this. We're about to show you how to combine those things in a second. If the value changes, it should be assigned with name equals x later. Yes, that is true, but it can never change type. So once you set this up, this name can never take anything but a string. Name will have to be a string throughout the entire time. Let's see. I'm pretty sure you can assign a declaration, then reassign. I'll test really quickly. Yeah, I like that. I love to see that you're about to test, like play. You should play with this. If you want to assign statically, then change it. You just be redeclaring it, if that makes sense. Want to assign it statically, then change it. I don't know what you mean by statically, but you can never redeclare it. Once you declare a variable, like once you set up that box for a variable to be used, you can't redeclare it again, but you can reassign the value of it. So you could assign the value and then reassign it later. But yes, it is like saying name equals no. Does white space and indents matter in Go? No, they do not. Again, because Go will actually, most of the time, Go will be set up to reformat your code automatically. Actually, I wonder if this is set up this way now. I could do something like this. When I save it, what happens? When I save it, it automatically formats. Like Go has a built-in formatter, which is super nice. So it does not matter in Go. All right, now let me show you how to combine these steps. I wanted you to see them separately. How do we combine these steps? There are two ways to do it. I think there are two ways. I think you can do this. I think I could do name equals Aaron. And that would basically assign and declare in one step. I actually don't know if this works. I've literally never done this. Let's see if that works. It does work. So you can just combine those lines and say var name string equals Aaron. And that is how you both declare and assign all at once. So actually, let me undo. Oh man, it won't let me undo. Let's remove this just so that we have the right comment here. So let's comment that. Let's yank it. This below. Let's var name string equals Aaron. Even though, actually, I like that. Aaron. Variable declaration and assignment. I cannot type. Variable declaration and assignment in one line. So this does work, but the way that you're commonly going to see it, and this is less typing, is now this is actually going to go back and make something that I told you in the intro to programming wrong. But we talked about type inferencing, and that dynamic languages will try to figure out what type something is without you having to be explicit about it. So will Go. Even though it is statically typed, Go will as well. And it will if you do something like this. I could say name colon equals, so I think this is called the walrus operator, not important, but colon equals Aaron. And these two statements are exactly the same. And Go will know how to interpret this because of the quotes. Because the quotes around it, it will know that it's a string. This is what you will commonly see. This is the easier way. You can see how it's way less to type. But you can also see why programming can be confusing sometimes, because there are many ways to do things. Many ways. And so I'll comment this out. And so I said my name. I both assigned and declared in here. That's what the colon shorthand does this, and gave it the value. And if I print this out, it prints out Aaron like it should. And so these are the 4 different ways. So you can see the colors. Take a look at it for a second. I'll leave it up on the screen for a little while. We'll talk about it. And maybe just here I'll put shorthand for a variable. Man. Declaration and assignment. All right. Got to drop that equals on line 6. Oh yeah, thank you. Good catch. So these are all the different ways. Actually, let me separate this and let me separate that. So just this is one way to declare and assign. This is one way to declare and assign, and this is the last way to declare and assign. All these ways are the same way to do the same thing. All these do the same thing. Take a look, soak it in, take a look at them visually, see if you can understand. Yeah, and ask any questions. I'll give you a chance now to ask any questions you have about them before we move on. We'll be doing lots of stuff with variables, so I think even if you don't get it right now, you will get it as we dive deeper, because variables are kind of at the heart of everything that we're gonna be doing. Like they're just what you use to do everything. So, oh, I forgot to show you all. Today we have the orange LaCroix and the lime LaCroix on deck. So these are usually my go-tos. These two and lemon. There's a few new options out there. I tried the coconut one. Not a fan, but this will keep us from being too parched. All right. I can't get my VS Code to run a test, like an actual Go test, or to just run the code, period. Because we can run this in VS Code. Let's save it. I mean, this is gonna fail, but well, no, this variables that go. It's gonna fail because I declared the same variable like 3 times. I might have missed one of the steps during the install. Maybe post this if you're in the Slack. Maybe post a screenshot in the Slack. Maybe we can help you out. Yeah, try posting a screenshot in the Slack. Do you know of New Millennium bars? Name level 2, by the way. Level 2. Thank you. You did it right. You must be a Twitch usual. I have a tough time reading people's names. Name level 2. I do not know of New Millennium bars. Not sure what that is. Much prefer flavored San Pellegrino. Yeah, but I think flavored San Pellegrino is has like sugar in it, I think, doesn't it? Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. But this is sugar free. I'm really trying to cut out the sugar pretty heavily. I think it'll help me lose weight pretty fast, I hope. Losing still. I'm definitely still losing. I'm still marching towards my weight goals. I celebrated a friend's birthday this weekend, so I ate a little trashier than I wanted to, but it's all good. I just came from the gym right before this, so I'm still, I'm keeping focused on what those goals are. LaCroix need to cut a check soon. Yes, if anyone knows anyone at LaCroix, let them know that we love it over here on this channel, and that we will happily promote it. It's water. I prefer regular water, but it's when I'm trying to not drink sugary drinks, it helps like my mind feel like I'm, getting something because it has a little bit of flavor, even though it's not great. Again, I do think it tastes like TV static. It's something I got used to. It's TV static that I've learned to enjoy. It's an acquired taste. Definitely an acquired taste. And LaCroix, if you're watching, hopefully I can get other people to also acquire the LaCroix taste. But yeah, it's definitely TV staticky. But it does hydrate. So I was like, it feels like it doesn't hydrate because it's carbonated. But one day I tested. I just drank a bunch of LaCroix, like a whole lot of LaCroix, and I don't know. I was pretty hydrated. I felt good. Definitely felt good. But I don't know. It says they've got this weird thing at the bottom that says like 0 calorie sweetener, or 0 sweetener, 0 calories, 0 sodium. Let me see if that will. It's not gonna focus. But then it says equals innocent. That's weird to me. I know there's something in here that I'm not supposed to be having. I feel like there has to be, even though there's nothing listed on here, but only carbonated water, naturally essence. Probably something bad in here, but it's helping me right now. I'll wean myself off of it eventually. Sure. Let's see. Go add environment variables on your system, and VS Code might not recognize it without a restart. Yeah. Man, maybe I'll add that into something to talk about. No sucralose. Nope. None of that. Well, it's it. At least they don't say it. Not enough that they have to put it on the can. Anyone else buffering? The one I'm watching is not buffering, or the one I'm monitoring is not buffering. Sorry if you are buffering. Good thing we're only talking about LaCroix right now. I'm getting Ethernet tomorrow. I think they're putting an Ethernet tomorrow morning, which will be nice, so that I won't be doing this over Wi-Fi. My desktop has Wi-Fi and it's a decent connection, but I will have Ethernet, I believe, tomorrow. So that's pretty nice. They're putting in an Ethernet port here for me, which is great. For that. use this to take notes. In general, I'm about Splenda and flavor in favor of sugar drinks. I lost 80 pounds. Yes. Yes. So I do agree with that. I think that artificial sweetener can be helpful in losing weight. There's gotta be, to me, there's gotta be some side effects to these chemicals that we just aren't sure about yet. So I don't know. I definitely say use them to temporarily to do things like that. They definitely are great tools in helping you avoid certain things, but I don't know. I think long-term use of them is weird. I can't recommend it. Definitely can't recommend it. I have a wife who's, mastering in nutrition, so she's made me pretty skeptical of all things that don't come fresh out of the ground or something that we didn't just kill at the farm. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing. But cool. All right. So that was a lot. We dove into variables a little bit. Let's go ahead and let's move on to the next piece. Let's take a look back at our slides. Variables are dope. I hope you got that concept down. Data types. Now I just brought this in to rerun over them. Before we talked about data types generally, these are ones that are specific to Golang. And it's good to know. It's good to know all of them. We're not going to be using all of them, but it's good to be aware of them here. So data types, again, much like types in Pokemon, but Boolean. Remember, we said Boolean, those are true, false values. So it's literally true or false. Strings. So remember I said these are words and these are phrases and sentences. Think double quotes, my name, when I wrote my name, Aaron, that was a string. And then here we have some number types. So we have int 8, int 16, int 32, int 64. So most of the time for your daily usage, you're going to be using just int. What these are here is these are the byte sizes here, the bit sizes, byte sizes. I don't know, one of the two. But basically, the larger the number, these are set up ints. I think int is actually an alias for an int 32. So I'm pretty sure when you type in int, it's actually referencing this int 32. And that's basically the amount of space that it allocates in memory for that number. So if the number is very, 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 very large, you may have to use that N64. There's a table where I could show you what the max. I could just Google it, and it will give you the max number for each of these. But not super important. You'll probably not need to do it. But if you're running a program and it's not working, and you're using an int, and you expect the number to be very large, you may need to step it up to that int64 number. Uint. So uints are very similar to integers, but these are unsigned integers, so they are only positive. Unsigned, in my mind, when I first heard unsigned, I don't know what I thought it was, but it means there's no sign on it. So like no sign, like negative, so like no negative sign. So these are only positive numbers. So from 0 up are uint. So if you see uint, it has to be a positive number. Remember, integers are positive or negative, but uints, unsigned integers, are only positive numbers. Cool. Bytes are just an alias for a unsigned integer, 8-bit or 8 bytes. Again, I don't know. I gotta check that out. I don't know which one it is, but a byte, it's 8 bytes because no, 8 bits is a byte. So uint 8-bit is a byte. A rune. So a rune is a alias for an int 32. But an int 32 int 32 is just an integer. But a rune is a single character. So remember, for people doing Python, remember in Python, a string could be double quotes or single quotes. Python, in Golang, that's not true. In Go, double quotes only. Single quotes represent a rune, and it has to be a single character. Why is a single character an alias for an int 32? We are going to talk about that. I'm going to run through these data types. We're going to just see them in the interpreter. Not an interpreter. We're going to see them in our IDE or in our editor. We're going to mess around with the types a little bit. Maybe we'll do some typecasting or type coercion. Talk about what that is in a second as well. But you just want to run through these again. Float 32 and float 34. So we talked about number types. Integers are whole numbers, so complete numbers. Floats are decimal point numbers with decimal points in them. And again, same thing. If you need it to be really big, you need more memory for it, more space cut out for it. Float 64. Then these complex numbers are for math. Don't sweat that. I shouldn't even put those in there. You can't even see it, which is good. It's hidden behind this slide thing. But let's mess around with some of these things. I'm going to pull this up so that you can take a look at it while we're messing around. But this is important. And we're also going to talk about a tour of Go in a second. But zero value. So this is important because remember how we declared a variable? When you just declare a variable, it sets up the space for that variable. It actually also assigns it a value. You didn't assign it a value, but it assigns it a value. That's why when we spit out, that's why print string still works, even though we declared it, but didn't assign it a value, it still works. It assigns it a zero value. So basically, this is just a little thing that shows you what the zero value is for each of these things. Zero value again being the value of nothingness for it. So the zero value for an integer is 0, is the number 0, which makes sense. The zero value for a float is also the number 0. So 0 is the zero value for both number types. What's the zero value for a Boolean? So remember, Boolean is true or false. What's the zero value for something like that? Well, interestingly enough, it is false. So empty Boolean is false. So by default, Booleans are false, unless otherwise stated. And then the zero value of a string is double quotes. So just empty, just two quotes, open, close, quote, close quote is the zero value of a string. And now you can see here, this is interesting. Now you can see this printf thing here, this formatting, and then there's all these percent signs. And then you can see IFBS. So this is using printf to print out all of these things, and that's why these printed out like this in this order. But it just not necessary to remember. But what I would want you to take from that, the concept that I would want you to take from that is that that you should be, when you get to a new language, the zero value, you should look up the zero value for a data type, because that will affect the way that your program runs. It'll affect the way that your program runs. It's really good to know those things. I've seen a lot of issues with a lot of zero value issues before. Let's mess around with these data types. 937. All right, let's run through this stuff. The capital on function name is going to mess you up. I'm sorry about that. Yes. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. It messed me up at first, but I got used to it. Oh, Rob Pike says fake sugars for children. Again, I'm a child. That doesn't bother me at all. I'd love to speak to Rob, actually, and if he is an adult, I'd like him to take care of me, because I don't want to do adult things. I want to do childish things, and I want him to take me to the movies and pay for it, and make sure I don't have to have a job because I need to go to school or something. But then I'll go to school and not already done school, so then I'll kill it. I'll be getting like A's in all the little kids' classes. It'll be great. But if I'm a child, I'm a child for fake sugar school, and I forgot what the other thing was. I think colors in your editor. I'm a little kid. All right, let's mess around with some of these data types. It's the bool string. Let's make a new file, data types.go. All right, package main. So let's import. Man, no pattern found. Really? That's interesting. Import func main. All right. Let's see. What are we gonna do with these? Let's do some. Actually, I don't think we need to mess around with all these, but I do want to do some. I want to show you a few things. I want to show you one, how to typecast. So, yeah, I want to show you how to typecast or type coercion, how to coerce a type to be a different type, or try to get the program to interpret it as a different type. And I want to show you what a rune. I want to show you what a rune is just really quick. Cause I just think the Unicode stuff is pretty interesting and valuable. I think that's all we'll cover here for this piece. Yeah. So let's say we have something like this. Let's say we have. We're about to learn about math operators in a second, but let's say we have name Aaron. What is this? Let's say it in using the words that we've learned. The variable name has been declared and assigned to the value of Aaron, which is a string. Got a bunch of stuff there to describe what I just did. Again, we declared a variable. We assigned it a value of Aaron, which is a string, or of the string Aaron. So hopefully you follow that a little bit. If not, write those words down. Again, something you can catch up on. Now, let's make a new variable called age. And age is going to be an integer. And again, I'm 29. So, how do I want to show this without accidentally introducing in a whole bunch of new concepts? Let's go format.println name. So maybe I need to show you this first. Let me think here. Let's do numbers. I'm actually about to show you math operators, so I don't care. Let's do something like this. Print f. Let's say Aaron is 29. Well, first let me show you that you can do this. Sorry about that. So you can do math. You do math in every programming language. So you can do something very simple like 5 plus 5. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna run this. So what am I'm running? Go, run. Data type set go. Whoops. Type in a string. Oh, perfect. This is great. This is great. Great right here. Basically, what it told me is that I could not pass. Actually, we're gonna try something out. Basically, what the error was that printf can't take type of integer. Print can, println can, but printf is a function that formats strings. It only formats strings, so it's unable to do that. But I actually don't know if this will work. So that worked. But let me try this again. Let me try to do a printf. And maybe I can show you type coercion here. I don't know if this will work or not. String. I'm gonna see it real quick before I explain it to you. Okay, that does not work. Well, so it does work, but it doesn't print anything. So printf will not allow me to do 5 plus 5 because printf only allows you to format strings. Type coercion. So let me type it in so you can see what I'm talking about here. / type coercion or typecasting is the act of changing the type of a piece of data to something else. So basically, there are functions that exist that allow you to be able to try to take this. What's inside of here and change the type of it. So 5 plus 5 equals 10. 10 is an integer, but if I wrap it in this string function, it will attempt to take the value and it'll do its best to translate it from a number to a string. So basically what it'll try to do is it'll try to turn it from number. let's say it's like this, number equals 10. It will try to basically change it to be number equals 10. So you can see here, these are two different types. So that's why they're different colors. This is type int. This is type string. They are different things. They are very different things as far as Go is concerned. And doing something like the string down here is basically attempting to take the int and make it into a string and evaluate it. And so that's why when it's ran, it didn't fail. When I had printf, it didn't fail. Now I didn't get any output because it basically took that string and didn't really know what to do with it, which is interesting. I actually expected something a little bit different, but it did not print that. It did not print that out. Let's see. So like if I do, let's do string 5, and actually we're gonna do printf. I want to see something real quick. Nah, don't need to do that right now. But basically, type coercion just allows you to do that. So why would you need to do that? Sometimes you'll need to be building a string, and maybe I want to say, maybe I want to print a string that says, my name is Aaron, and I am 29 years old, but next year I'll be 30 years old. And I try to add one. I try to basically add 1 to 29, but then the printf can't take. Can't do it can't take the math. I can't add 1 to it, so I'll have to do it elsewhere and convert the type. It's really weird, but I probably should think of next time I should probably think of a good way to show this. But again, type coercion, type casting is the act of trying to change a type to something else. So, but it's changing it, but it's not permanently changing it. It's changing it just in a state to evaluate. So if you do string, like age, so if I pass an age, it would try to spit out basically the string 29. And either way, you won't be able to tell from the run. That's interesting. That's interesting. It's not printing anything. Oh, it's not printing anything because I didn't format anything, but that doesn't matter. It'll try to do that. So like this will work. What's happening here? Age equals 29. Print line. Oh, string. I think string I might have to set to another value. Don't worry about that right now. But again, it'll try to evaluate it as a string, even though it is an integer. Not a big deal. There's other things like I think int is one. I think if you want to try to make something be an int, you do int. And there are other ways to do it, but again, type casting and type coercion, sometimes you need to try to convert a type to another type. There are ways to actually convert the type. So if I wanted to change, if I wanted to actually change the type, I think there's like a strings package, and I can do a strings.2i. There's ATOI, and there's ways to actually change the type. But type coercion allows you to just try to evaluate the type. Maybe before this is over, we can revisit that, and I can think of something cool to do with that. Then runes. So runes, check this out. Runes are cool. What if I wanted to do format dot print line H? Let's do this. I get 104. I get 104. Very interesting. Very interesting. I get 104. Maybe just to make it a little bit different, just so we can use the things that we learned. What if I do letter equals H, and I'll print letter, so we can change this around, so we can just use our variables so that you can see how variables work. Get a little more practice on how variables work. When we run it, we get this number. Let's take a look back at what this says up here. So rune, so this is of type rune. I'll show you how to check types in a second. But it represents a Unicode point. It's an alias for an int, 32. So runes, you're gonna get back a number, an integer, and it represents a Unicode point. So let's take a look at this like ASCII table. So basically all the letters and Numbers, you see, these are ASCII characters, so A through Z, things like that. There's a bunch of other characters that you know of. The way that your computer knows how to use them is due to like this chart right here. So when you actually type in a G, it's actually passing along this information to your computer, either one of these numbers or something else, depending on the way that your computer works. There's different setups all around, different keyboards, all kinds of stuff. But let's look for the letter H here. So let's find the lowercase letter H on here. And we find it right here. And look at that, right next to it. The decimal character is 104. That is the value that represents that. So if I change it to the letter A, actually if I put a different letter in here, HW, what just happened? I broke it. All right, cool, that works. I run it. It says invalid character, literal more than one character. Again, we said runes. Runes have to be a single character. They have to be a single character, and it's an alias for N32. So it has to be one letter. H. And then, so you can actually do something like this as well. I think I could do 104, and then I think I could do rune letter. I think I could do this. And again, this is, let me try this. And I think it'll return the number. So let's take a look at what I just did. I did that really fast. So, you can use those numbers. You can use that the ASCII number, the Unicode number, to reference a rune, to reference an actual character. So I said letter is equal to 104, and then I ran this little bit of code. And again, I typecasted it. I coerced it into turning into a rune. Actually, what does this print? Oh, I thought it was going to print H. Never mind. I did that wrong. There's a way that I can get it to print H instead of 104. I don't know how to do it right now. No big deal. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that ASCII was a thing. ASCII table is a thing. Runes are letters, and that there are values to letters and characters. So you can take a look at it and just Google ASCII table. ASCII is ASCII. You can get one of these tables up, and you can kind of just see the values. You can see here that also the lowercase h has a different value than uppercase h. Again, because all these characters have a different thing. Space has one. Everything, all these characters that you're probably used to have it. There are actually different tables for different encodings for different languages and things like that. We're talking about encodings and stuff later as well. All right. We did that, and then math. Tonight we're just gonna do some math problems because you can use this to do math. We've already seen that we can do math, but I'll take a second before going to the math piece because there's some interesting things in here. Basically these three that I just want to show you. We'll stop there because that was a lot of stuff, and we didn't run through it super smoothly. So if you have any questions about anything we just talked about, ask away. If not, write it. Like I said, write it down and check it out yourself if you need to. Again, the concepts, focus on the concepts. Rob Pike says, football is the devil. And man, I like all these Rob Pike quotes, and I think we should make, we need to make like a page with all these Rob Pike quotes. Maybe he'll find out about it and be famous. Is coercion the same thing as casting? Yes. Type casting, type coercion, same exact thing. Oh, kind of. Maybe they're not. I thought they were. If they're a sleepy developer, maybe there's something different. Maybe there's a difference. I've always heard them referred to in the same aspect. I was actually introduced to it as type coercion, and then I think two people told me actually they were like, "Oh, you mean type casting?" And I was like, "Look, man, I learned this type coercion. If you're saying it's also type casting, then I'll go with that. So maybe they're different." If they're different, I actually would love to know the difference. If you could explain that, maybe we'll look it up in a second. If you're not sure. In quotes, if it's similar to cprintf, you can write probably something like this. Yes, you could. Yes, you could do that. 100% DMAC. That's exactly what you could do. I like to see what happens if you print F104. Oh yeah, we can do that. I could probably use that to get like the number 104, it's not gonna work if I just print the number 104 because printf doesn't do that. Yeah, see, it's type int, so it didn't print. But maybe I could do this. If I do a %v, it's gonna go ahead and it's gonna see it as it's gonna make it an int, but this might work. I'm gonna talk about what I just did there. So I did print that. I just want to check something before. I don't want to talk about too much and then the example not work. What if I try to make this a? I actually don't know what a type rune is. Well, that's not gonna work because that's a digit. That's probably what it interpreted as. What a rune be? So I know S is 1. Actually, what happens if I print it out as a string? This is also a type of version. Nah, that didn't work. Interesting. Okay, let's try C. I don't know. Oh, C looks like it's a thing. I could have looked it up, but I'm feeling pretty lazy. Ah, C works. So, all right, let's take a look at what we just did. Okay, so let's talk about the printf function just a little bit more. We'll dive a little bit more into the printf function. This formatting, what you can do is you can have it format, and I can say something like this, just to make it a little bit cleaner, and then so that you know what it is. This is a print out of the variable letter, colon, space. It's gonna print out a letter there. Basically these percent and letters you see, is it actually takes this, and it basically is a placeholder, a percent letter as a placeholder, and basically that whatever the letter is, it references a data type. It references a decimal, a string, something like that. The %v is the catch-all. This is the safe one, and they'll try to do some try to figure out on its own. But this is a placeholder, and then the comma is where you add in what to fill in that placeholder. So if let's say I had 3 things, so we have C, and then we have some more text, and let's say I did another %v. I would need another variable or another value to put in after a letter to like take its place. But I guess the C is for character. And so yeah, I set it up to 104 here. Let's add a new line at the end so that it's cleaner as well. So \n. All right, just gonna add a new line. And now when I print it out, it says this printout is of the variable letter H. They printed out H instead of 104 because of the data, basically the type that we tried to coerce it to using the print format function. So yeah. Okay, it depends on programming language, school you went to, but yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, thank you for that %C. I didn't feel like looking up in the little table which one it is. Why did %Q work for the string earlier example? Today is brought to you by the letter 104. I love that. I'm using that, I'm stealing it, that's good. Let's see, %Q, is %Q a thing? Maybe it is, I don't know. I don't know what Q is. Huh, we can look this up. Let's see, go printf variables, string formatting, let's go by example. I'm gonna go look at the actual documentation. I want to see, actually, cheat sheet. I think the documentation's confusing to look at up front. All right, so %v, %q. Oh, quoted character. Let me make this page a little bit bigger. Whoa. All right, so this is just a little thing that tells you what each of these formats are. So %v is going to be like the default format, so it's going to try to do some inferencing on the type. So this is the way that if you're trying to figure out what type something is, if you pass it a capital T, instead of printing out the value of it, it'll print out the format will be what actually the type is. So if I wanted to know what type that was, I wouldn't need all this stuff, and I should have just I wasted time. I'm not using my sweet Vim commands But if I wanted to just know what type this was, I do a %T, and I run it again, and it tells me that it is a type int. Because again, Arun is just an alias for a type of int32. And int is just also an alias for int32 as well. So %T will do that for you. But it looks like the Q was for a quoted character. So both of these worked, but it gave it back to me quoted this time. So that is why the %Q worked before. All right. What else about printf? But yeah, that's what printf is for, and you can use it to format a bunch of stuff. Mess around with it. It took me a while to really understand formatting text. Ari Winoker, thanks for the subscription. Welcome to the family. Definitely welcome to the family. But yeah, that's the printf function. And let's do some quick math because it's already 10 o'clock. Let's do some math. Math operators. So Go, as well as every other programming language, can do some math operations. Very simple, and a lot of the ones that you know. So addition, subtraction. So addition's adding two numbers together. Subtraction is subtracting the number on the right from the number on the left. Multiplication, so multiplying the number on the left by the number on the right. Division, same thing. Now, you probably don't need to see those, but I'm going to show them to you anyway. Let's just set up a new file really quick. Let's do vim math.go, and let's import funct, and let's func, and let's go main. All right, so first thing, let's do addition. Simple format print line. Let's go ahead and copy this let's yank it so that we can use it over and over again. Actually, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, and then the other two we'll do a little bit differently. So let's do addition first, and again, addition is again 5 plus 500. Yeah, so we add two numbers together very simply with just the plus. Subtraction, let's go, whoops, what am I doing? I can't see my keyboard. Subtraction, let's go division, let's go / multiplication, and let's go modulus. Here, that's gonna be the most fun one. That's gonna be where you're learning something. Addition, let's go subtraction, 54, just plug in the numbers, minus, and not either one of those things. Just minus a random number. Division, 500 divided by whatever I typed in, 323. Multiplication times. So multiplication is the star. 27, and then modulus. So modulus is let's make this easy. Well, actually, we're gonna wait on this. So for now, we're just gonna have this print nothing. All right, so let's take a look at all these. I'm gonna run these so you can see addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. So addition is the plus, minus, the division sign is the /, and star is multiplication. And we'll just run those. Go run math.go. Cool. Whoa. Go, not Game of Thrones. So it goes ahead and it runs addition, subtraction. You can see here, it's okay for a number to go negative. Division, that only goes in one time. We'll talk about that in a second. And multiplication, 6,264. Let's take a look at this code. Now, take a look at division. So let's actually, this is perfect actually. Let's yank it. Let's DD and let's paste this. Whoa. All right, so, oh no, I forgot if you DD, it takes it. So let's take this, yank, paste. All right, so we're gonna take, we're gonna take this and we're gonna, let's see, I wanna make it clear for you. Let's comment on everything else in this whole file. Because now we're gonna learn a little bit about modulus. These are the three that you're gonna be learning basically. Hopefully you already know these ones up top. These three, modulus. Now, modulus is division. Modulus absolutely is division, so remember that. The operator for modulus is a percent sign. So whenever you see the percentage sign, that is modulus. Well, not whenever you see it, but when you see some numbers, that's modulus. When you see a math operation going on, we need to do a math operation. Now, I'm telling you it's division. What's the difference between actual division and this? And we're gonna use some better numbers in a second, but let's run this. And we get two different things. So the first one is we get 1. Modulus, we get 177. What does that mean? Now, this taking you back to elementary school, middle school math class. 500 divided by 323. Let's use smaller numbers. Just so it makes a little more sense when I tell you. Oh, for sure FizzBuzz is coming on. For 100% sure. I think I was gonna do FizzBuzz next time. Whoever can stick around, we're definitely about to do FizzBuzz in a sec. No, we have to do FizzBuzz next time because we have to learn about comparison operators. That is next time. That's gonna be on Tuesday. Let's do just 10. Let's do 10 divided by 3. So how many times is division? Simple division. How many times does 3 go into 10? 3 goes into 10 3 times. So it can't go in 4 times because 4 times is equal to 12. It can go into 10 3 times. So when that prints, it should give us back 3. But if we do 10 modulus 3, I like putting spaces in between so you can see. We do 10 modulus 3 or modulo. I don't really know which one it is, to be honest. I think it's modulus or I don't know. But if you do 10 modulus 3, so 3 goes into 10 3 times. But if we do 10 modulus 3, it gives us back 1. So modulo or modulus returns the remainder. Don't you have to put floor? That is floor is a Python thing, I believe. But you could guess. I guess you could if you wanted to get. Yes, you could, but floor modulo 3. It depends on what you're trying to do, I guess. But that's rounding down. Floor is to round down in Python or in maybe other languages as well. I don't think floor is a thing in. I don't think floor is a thing in Go, but it returns the remainder. So 3 goes into 10 3 times, and that equals 9. And there's 1 left over. So modulus is used to return the remainder. So modulus returns the remainder. And you might be trying to understand right now, like, why the heck would I ever need the remainder or something? I can tell you, I use modulus more in my programming than I use division, like way more. More than probably any math operator. Well, no, I use addition a lot, and subtraction a lot. But yes, you'll use modulus a lot. Or enough. It's used to solve lots of these like programming problems. These like a lot of these programming problems are used to, like, you need to use modulos to solve a lot of them, but it's all good. We're gonna talk about FizzBuzz next time. We're gonna be using that when you'll see why that's powerful. So again, all to remember is you don't even need to necessarily remember that it's a percent sign in Go. I think it's a percent sign in every language, but you don't even necessarily need to remember that right now. What you need to remember is that modulus is division, but it returns the remainder. What are the other 2 things we have here? So now we have increment and decrement. So these are expressions. So I don't think I can't just do something like let's see, what's the best way to do this? Like, I can't just do something like number equals 10 and just show you that number. I can't just do number plus plus. I don't think. We're about to find out. Let's check that out really quick. Yeah. So I think because this is an expression, I think I have to do it outside of here and then print it. But let's talk about what they do really quick, and then we will see it in action. I just wanted to check that out. Increment is increment by 1. So plus plus means increment by 1. That's all you got to do is increment by 1. And decrement means subtract by 1. And these are expressions, so they have to happen after. These will be used heavily on Tuesday when we talk about loops. To be talking about loops. Loops are a great reason for this, and probably the only reason why you're ever going to increment or decrement by 1 in this way. But I'm about to show you how to do that in a second. Let me see what people are saying. What's FMT, external library? No, so FMT is actually it's a library. It's a package that's a part of Go standard library. So it is available to you by default as part of the Go language. You don't have to pull it from elsewhere. It's already available to you. You just have to tell your code that you are using it. So you can use both math and printf with format printf. Added the values %d, nd, and got d. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Let's see. I'm copying that. That's I like that. I actually didn't know you could do that. Or maybe I did. I just never done it. Excuse me. Let me drink this LaCroix to help quell my problems here. I'm gonna get that LaCroix sponsorship. All right, we're all good. That worked a lot actually. Got my cough to go away. You got to increment then print. Yes, yes, you have to increment then print. So how can we do that? Let's increment then print. I actually don't even think I can because it's an expression. I can't do like number plus plus isn't a thing. Do I have to set number equal to number plus plus? I don't know. Something like this, and then print number. I'm just messing around. As you can see, I wanted to show you that I don't work in Go every day. I haven't actually worked in Go in a while. And this just so you forget stuff. Like half of the things people tell me, I already knew, and half the things I'm probably telling you, a lot of you already knew, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do that in this language. I don't remember because you work in so many different languages. But cool, that did work. So let me delete all this stuff. All right, and the only way is to try it out. That's why I just try stuff out. So increment by 1. So I said number is equal to 10. Then I said number plus plus. And I actually didn't even need to set it equal to anything. Basically, that makes sense. That was dumb. I don't even know why I would have done that. Never mind. So you do number equals 10, and then I took it and I added 1 to it. I incremented something to it, and so you can see when I run it, it now equals 11. So it added 1 to it. And this is a common thing in everything, in most languages except for Python. Python does not allow for increment and decrement, I don't think. I think you have to do, it does, but I think you have to do, you can't do plus plus. I think you have to do like plus equals 1. I think you can do this in math, in Go too. Yeah, it works in Go too. So this is kind of shorthand to basically add, but also set it back to the value. So I could do something like this. I could add 1 to number, but take a look at this code really quick. Okay, I should have known that too. Basically, in other languages, you'll be able to do something like this. I could add 1 to number, and it would do it. It like on this line of code, on line 8, when the code was being evaluated, it would add 1 to it. But I'm not doing anything with that. That doesn't actually change the value of number. Why doesn't it change the value of number? Because we didn't assign, there's no equal sign. So we didn't assign the output of this to anything. So it basically adds 1 a number, and then that line just kind of goes away. It's not being used anymore. The shorthand of plus equals basically says, go ahead and add whatever's on the right to what's on the left, but also set that equal, assign that value now to the variable that's on the left. So there's a little bit of shorthand. Again, not super important to note. It's something you'll see in Python because I think we have to do it. But to add 1, it is just plus plus, and to subtract, it's minus minus. So this should give us 9, and you can see it gives us 9. So, yes, that is numbers. So again, math operators, remember you can do math, add, subtract, multiply, divide. Remember, we now learn modulus, which is division, but instead of returning the actual value of the division, it returns the remainder. Whatever's left over after doing the division is what modulus returns. We'll learn how to use that appropriately on Tuesday. Then increment. So again, remember, increment is just adding one, so plus plus, and decrement is minus minus. So just a little help, something to help you remember increment. If you've ever heard of the coding language C++. So there's a coding language called C, which is kind of like the grandfather of all languages, to be honest. But C++ is supposed to be C. It's supposed to be the increment of C. It's supposed to be one better. It's supposed to be, just the next level of C. And then we have C sharp. So C sharp, if you ever look at a sharp symbol, it's like 4 pluses basically. So again, that's like C++++. So like 4 pluses there. And that's just supposed to be, a whole step better than C++. Whether it is or it isn't is not something that I'm interested in talking about. But yes, it is. It's just that was the original intent with the naming conventions. Yeah, that was just the original intent of the naming conventions. So number plus plus will iterate on the value of the number. No need to reassign it. Correct. So number plus plus does the same thing. Number plus plus does the exact same thing as number plus equals 1, which is the same thing as number equals number plus 1. So all these things are essentially doing this. All three of these are doing the same thing. This is just the shortest way and the next shortest way and the longest way. But this is essentially what's happening. Number is the variable that we already set up. We're saying that the value, we're assigning a new value to it. And that value is basically what the old value of number was plus 1. And the old value of number was 10. That gets substituted in here and we're adding 1 to it. And now we're assigning that to the value. So all these things are doing the exact same thing. So yes, you are correct. Is there a way to define constants in Go? Yes, Go does have constants. What's happening here? Did I break it? Oh, I was on the wrong screen. Go does have constants, which I just think are, is it just a const? Pretty sure it's just const, but I think it needs to be defined outside of the main function. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just const. I don't know, actually. Man, see, this just shows you how long it's been since I haven't written a lot in Go in a while. I'm actually glad we're doing this. You can definitely create constants. There we go. Third thing. And it's same thing. So it's just like defining a variable. Except you have to do it this way, I'm pretty sure. I don't think there's any other way to do it. There's no shorthand. You can't shorthand it. It won't try to infer type. You do a constant, and let's copy this in. Let's talk about what constants are really quick, because that's something that's good to know. I will add that to this. This is something we didn't talk about. Constant, as opposed to a variable. Wow, print is not a thing. I'm surprised it changed colors there. Add a print line, S. So they named the constant S. So this is like the same exact thing as if we were to do var S string equals variable. Same thing. We're just setting up a variable. A constant is not a variable, but think about it like a variable for now. Just for now, think about it like a variable. But as a variable means something that can change, the word constant actually means quite the opposite, is that it cannot change. So constants remain the same. So you cannot, you have to do this like this, because you cannot declare a constant and then assign a value to it later, because again, constants can't change. So once you declare it, you have to also assign the value at the time of declaration, because it can't be changed later. So we'll print this out just to show you that you can use it in the same way. So it just prints out the word constant. So you can use it just like a variable. You can use it it operates kind of in the same way, but let's say I try to change the value of it, and I went S now equals just some text. And I try to run this, it's going to fail. Cannot assign to S. Can't assign to S because why? S is something called a constant, and it cannot be changed. Yeah, and it can't be changed. There are some caveats to that. Not caveats, but like there's some nuances to constants, which really threw me for a loop. The first time I found out about it, when I originally learned about constants, I learned in the exact way I'm teaching you now, is that they cannot be changed, which is true. They cannot be changed. Constants cannot be changed. But it is possible for the contents of a constant to be changed if they are something like an array. Sometimes the underlying, the data type can't be changed, but sometimes the values inside can be changed. Super weird. It really bothered me at first because the word is constant, but I understand now, and maybe we'll explain a little more of that later. That's too much information for now. But yes, constants are basically like variables. So first, I want to show you guys, providing you guys some things really quick. One is this Go by Example site. This is an excellent site to reference, like especially if you already know a coding language. Go by Example is a quick reference to show you how to quickly do different things. So like an if-else statement, it just shows you really quick, like an example of how to do it. And we're gonna talk about if-elses and stuff next time. But variables, if you ever want to reference the different ways you can make a variable, you can do it here, and you can see they did a lot of things that I did. But it's a great site. It is an excellent site to reference. I reference it all the time when I'm coding in Go. So that, and then there's this, the tour of Go. So you can, I actually think I put this in the, I'm pretty sure I put tour of Go in the Google Classroom. But this is a walkthrough to help you understand and learn Go. Now, the problem with it is, again, not a problem, but again, they're not here to teach you how to learn how to code. So if you try to run through this, you're gonna hit a lot of stuff where you're like, I don't know what this like. Yes, I can do what you're telling me to do right here. I can type in what you're telling me to type, but I don't know what I'm doing because I haven't learned that concept yet. That's fine. Just want to give it to you as something that you can start looking at if you'd like. I would recommend holding off on doing it until after Tuesday. After Tuesday, I think you should try to run through this. I think it is a cool little thing to kind of get familiar with Go. But I think that's everything for tonight. And practice, yeah, we're talking about just messing around with some stuff. We've been practicing and messing around all evening with a lot of that stuff. So right now, I just want to make that the kind of official end for tonight's class, but let's just super quick, let's recap what we covered. Like I think it's important to get to the end and so I can tell you the concepts that we talked about, so that you can like separate it from all the cruft that goes on during this. I know it can be confusing. One, we learned how to display output. How do we display output in Go? We use the fmt.print functions. We have print, printf, and println. The difference between those things we talked about, again, print line as a new line character, printf allows you to format. That's the main takeaway from the displaying output piece, and just knowing that that's something that you can do, that you can display output from a program. Variables, we learned about variables. We learned about variables being this placeholder thing that you can have that can reference another value, a value that can change because of the word itself, which is variable. So that can change. Yeah, variables are cool. We learned the 2 to 3 different pieces of it. We learned declaration. A variable needs to be declared first, and then it needs a variable assignment needs to happen. So then after you declare a variable, you need to assign a value to it. You also need to instantiate it, but again, we're not going to worry about that right now. We did that, but didn't want to tie anything to that because it's a little confusing. But we also learned that you can do that at the same time. We learned that you can declare a variable and assign it at the same time. And then we learned about some data types. So the new data types that we learned basically are these different sizes of ints. So as the number gets bigger, the bigger the integer can be. Then we learned about uint, so unsigned integers. Remember, unsigned means the actual sign at the front, positive or negative. So because of that, uints are only positive integers. So 0 on up is unsigned int. We learned about bytes a little bit and runes. So runes being that single character, which actually is a number that references that value on the ASCII table. So I showed you guys an ASCII table. We saw how the letter H is equal, the lowercase letter H is equal to 104. So yeah, so that's there. Learn about floats being decimals. We learned about zero values. We learned that when you declare a variable as a zero value, and we learned about what those zero values are. I posted the link in there. And so it's just something to remember that there each data type does have a zero value. The one that's probably most important is that Booleans zero values are false. That's probably the one that's like hardest to remember. But Booleans zero value are always false. And then we learned about math operators. So then we learned that you could do math encoding, like in Golang, other programming languages, you can add and subtract and multiply and divide, which is great. But then you can use something called modulus or modulo to divide but take the remainder. You don't know how to use that yet, but I'll show you how we're going to learn how to use that. Then we learned about increment and decrement. So we can easily add one or subtract one from a number and assign this value back to itself, which is great. So in a 2.5 hour session, that's a lot of stuff. If you're new to coding, new to Golang, we went through a lot of stuff. Take it in. There's a lot to unpack there. Use the next day or so to, if you're in the Google Classroom, there's some information in there. There's some assignments to kind of help you get a little bit farther along with some of these things, to familiarize yourself a little bit more with Go. And next time, just so you know what we're in for next time. So this stuff is easy compared to what we're going to be learning next time. Very, very easy, actually. The next time is when we're going to start getting into the logic. So right now we haven't really learned any logic. We learn how to do things. We haven't learned any logic, and logic is where your program really gets powerful. And so we'll be covering. Do we have only 1 or 2 more days of Go? I hope there's a. Okay, so yeah, so we learned all this stuff tonight. I wanted to get to this, but I don't think it's valuable because I don't think. Actually, when I looked at it, Exorcism didn't have any. I'll show this with you so you can check it out, but I don't think there are any problems that we can do without learning the logic down here. So next time we'll be solving some problems with Exorcism. Cool site if you want to check it out. I know it sounds scary, but it's not scary. It's for exercises and not for exorcisms. But there's just a lot of exercises, coding challenges and things like that we can run through. We can create a team. I'm going to create a team that y'all can join and we can solve these problems together. But yeah, we're going to learn some logic and then we're going to solve problems. So we're going to do some FizzBuzz. We're going to do FizzBuzz type problem. They have one on there called like drip drop or raindrops or something like that. Same thing, very similar. But we'll use it to solve some problems. Next time, we're going to get through the logic. We're going to go through the slides real fast, just because I think it makes more sense when we're going through it. So we're going to go through the slides once real quick, and then we're going to start hopping straight into problems. We're going to do an hour and a half to 2 hours of just solving problems on Exorcism. But we'll be also I'll be teaching during the same time. I'll be re-referencing the slides that we just went through next time. So you can check out that if you want. You can definitely check that out if you want. Let me see. The colon equals operator. Figure set out. Let's see. I don't know what you mean by that. Is the type of the variable optional? You didn't declare it. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Declare it now. I shouldn't have read that backwards. For the previous number variable. Yeah. So if you ever see the dot equals, if you ever see this colon equals, then you do not need to specify the type. So this method, this shorthand method, will do type inference. It will infer the type that you're putting in there. It will try to figure out what type that is. So yeah, so if you ever see that, you don't sorry, you don't need to put the type. All right. Let's the compiler figure out the type. Got it. Yeah, you guys already said that. Focus chat. Uint can break stuff, so be careful. Yes. I've never yet run into a reason why I needed to use a uint. Wanted to tell you about it, but I've never seen a reason why I needed to use it. So that's probably one you can just kind of put in the back of your mind of, I don't need to worry about that at all. But yeah, Go's cool. One thing we didn't talk about is why what people use Go for. So Go is generally used as a systems language. So when I say systems language, again, it was made by Google to solve their problems. It's traditionally been used server, like basically on the server side to do things on that end. So back end stuff, business logic stuff, scripting, data stuff. But yeah, it's traditionally been used for that. So it hasn't been traditionally used for, again, people asked about the web frameworks for Go. Those are relatively unpopular to the rest of what Go is used for. Like a lot of people aren't deciding to use Go for, well, I think it's becoming more and more of a thing, but they weren't really deciding to use Go for a web language to build like front end web things and build web applications. Again, it's more of a back end server side thing, but it's expanded to be more than that. Again, because it's very fast and efficient and performant, it's been used to build a bunch of tools like Terraform, like Docker. I'm gonna keep saying it, Docker and Kubernetes. Because it's compiled, it's easy to, like, people can just, you can, compile your code and just pass the things along with the Terraform binary. You just download it and you can run it. Just download the right one and you can go ahead and you can run it. So yeah, so that's generally people use it. People use it to build a lot of tools nowadays. It's easy to use for automation. I use it for all kinds of stuff. I use it for like writing serverless functions around automation and stuff like that. But yeah, usually a back-end kind of server side systems language is what people usually use Go for. Is memory, just declare smaller int to save memory. Yeah, and also nowadays, like, the programs you're probably going to be writing, you don't need to worry about memory that much. Yeah. Oh, also, we're not going to get into it because I don't think it's necessary. I just don't think it's super important because, again, I'm not trying to make sure you really know Go in 4 hours because it's ridiculous. But Go has amazing concurrency. So what's concurrency? Concurrency is running processes side by side at the same time. So Go has very easy concurrency where it can process lots of things all at once, and it's so easy to implement. Other languages, concurrency is pretty tough to implement, but concurrency in Go is like, it's super snappy, super easy to do. So another reason why people use it, again, as a systems language, because you can do some cool stuff in that aspect. Yeah. Let's see. Or where the value could never be negative. I've never used them. Just trying to think of where. Oh yeah, the quick web server was cool. I watched an API 30 minutes. Oh, video with Go. Yes. So to build APIs, Go is super duper easy to build APIs with. Anyone who doesn't know what an API is, I think we do go deeper into that a little bit later into the DevOps stuff. But I think API stands for, I think, like application programming interface. Let me confirm that. But basically what it is APIs are a way for you to make it easy for systems outside of your own to be able to communicate and get information, get or give information. So it's almost like I try to explain it as like a communication layer between systems that don't necessarily need to know how each other works. So if you've written this whole application, this custom built application that does these things, that manages data, I can write an API for it. I don't know if I said you built it or I built it, but whoever built it can write an API for it that basically is this exposed piece that will allow that has some rules and provide documentation, but it allows me, someone on the outside, who has no idea how your application works or has access into your application, it allows me to be able to format requests to it and get back meaningful information for myself or pass information to you for your own systems to process. So yeah, they're pretty cool. They make more sense when you actually need to use one. It's pretty interesting, but yes, they are great for building APIs. Got it. Yes, it is application programming interface. I'm proud of myself. Sometimes I forget what all these acronyms are. Micro threads, they're called. What's micro threads for? You talking about for the concurrency? Those are through Go routines and some other stuff. But microservices. So APIs are generally used to interact with microservices, but APIs themselves aren't always microservices. They could be, but they're not always microservices. Is it concurrency stuff? No. So microservices and microthreads are not. At least I've never heard the term microthreads. Let's look that up. Unless you're talking about functions run in parallel, maybe. I don't think that's. I've never heard that reference in Go. Maybe I've heard it in like computer building, maybe, or eyebrow sculpting. But yeah, microthread. Yeah, I guess so. So that might be how your processor does it. But in Go, the Go routines, Go routines allow for easy concurrency. Yep. Yes. So I guess it seems like they're the same thing. The concurrency stuff that Go's doing is, yes, it probably leverages this micro threading to be able to do something like that. That's all wrong. I read an article. They talked about Go having all this multi-process stuff. They do. Yeah. Yes. Not being fully multi-threaded. Yes, I think that's what the Go routines allow for. Yes, I think it has the access and the ability to do exactly that. I think that was something that they built into, again, for Google to be able to solve their problems. They had to build it to be able to utilize a kind of current architecture. So like more cores and and threaded processors are becoming a thing. And Go wanted to be able to utilize those things. So yeah, the high level ease and some low level speed. Yeah, yes. 100%. Best of both worlds. Absolutely, you're getting it. Definitely, you got it right there. Hey Vigo Studio, thank you for the follow. But yeah, so for anyone, I'm gonna stick on for a little while longer, but for anyone who wants to hop off, that's all we're doing in terms of that's all I have in store to teach you for tonight. Again, next time we'll hop into Exorcism. You can head over to Exorcism and kind of log in and see how it works now if you want. But next time we'll be talking about solving some problems. We'll learn some logic, and logic is when coding gets cool. Once you get into the logic section, but it's also the hardest to grasp, and that's why I'm doing it on the Tuesday, because it's going to give you Tuesday through the next Sunday to really take a look at some of the stuff. Again, we're going to be going over logic operators, so this is going to be things like comparing values to see which one is bigger or larger, or comparing values to see if they're equal or not, and then things like if statements and if else's and stuff like that. And then functions, we'll talk about both of these things. Those will be super fast. I'm actually going to do this piece after we do this piece. We're going to hop into the problems first. The Git will probably take the last 15 minutes to talk about Git, GitHub, GitLab, all the different repositories. But next time you learn about Git. So someone actually asked me, when we're doing these programming things, and for the Python one, hey, how come you don't just stick a bunch of problems in GitHub? And I was like, I do have a bunch of problems available in GitHub, but I don't want to open them up yet, because again, what I've learned is that everyone just assumes people know things, and we need to go over what Git is. We need to introduce people to GitHub. We need to show people what that even is. I don't want to provide half the class with information that they have access to, and the other half has to wait. The half that needs it the most has to wait because they don't really understand what they're doing. So I'll be giving you basically links to GitHub after we go over Git next time, basically for all the remaining things that we need code for, that we need stuff for. I'll basically be giving you links to GitHub to save time, because there'll be pre-made files in those that we'll be building off of, so that we don't have to write everything from scratch, because we only have 2 hours, around 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. All right, just joining late. Multiple Go routines can be multiplexed on a single thread. Yeah, I think you can do that as well. I'm pretty sure you can do that as well. Hey, Aaron Raff, welcome. Are you a mentor there? I am not a mentor, or I'm assuming you mean on Exorcism. I'm not a mentor on Exorcism. I already have trouble keeping up with the messages that I have now, so it will be bad for me to try to hop on Exorcism and be a mentor right now. But one day maybe I'll be. And maybe I'll learn, like I'll take some time and learn some obscure language. Actually, let me log in. Let me see if I don't know if I have a login with this account. Maybe I'll try some obscure language that I don't know, like D. What is this? I've never even heard of this programming language. Hey, I'm dying. Ooh. Yeah, maybe we'll learn some stuff. So Exorcism is pretty cool. It's got a bunch of languages you can go off of, and that you can solve problems with. A lot of them are similar. A lot of them are just copied from one to the other, if it makes sense. But yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. But maybe I will become a mentor there. I don't know. Good night, chat. Good night, Paul Blart, Mauled Cop. I love that. I found that movie, even though it got terrible reviews, to be very funny. So have a good night. Any resources for improving algorithmic thinking? I find that's where I'm struggling. Yes, with any programming I've tried, perhaps it's just practice and get better at it. That is an excellent question, Long Belly. So I have a few things. So again, sites like this, Exorcism, will help you. Yes, will help you practice algorithms. And because these have mentors who will give you feedback, I think it helps you with algorithmic thinking only in hindsight though. So if you're someone who's able to learn well by being able to after they give you the advice, you submit a problem, you try to figure it out, you submit it, even if you don't finish it, they'll give you some advice. You'll be able to see other people's. If you're someone who can gather information and be able to see those patterns when they give it back to you, sites like this may be valuable. If not, there's like Algo Expert and Algo Pro for like the big algorithm problems, like Silicon Valley problems that get asked. So like Algo Expert, I think is the one you want. I think Algo Pro is made by the tech lead, and he stole basically Algo Expert. But I've heard good things about Algo Expert. I've heard really good things about it. I don't know how much it costs. I know there is a cost associated with it, but I've heard good things about it to help you. It's a walkthrough for kind of the most common algorithmic problems. There's also a Udemy course. I don't know what it's called. It's on my other account for email that I don't have anymore. I'll see if I can find it. But there's an algorithms course on Udemy that really helps me, at least, with algorithmic thinking. Just kind of thinking in the way that one, that these questions have been created out of, the kind of thinking behind it, and then two, the way that kind of a computer works, and the way that you can use it effectively to solve those problems. But yeah, there's tons of YouTube videos on specifically solving algorithms. And I don't know if that's going to help you start to think in a different way. It did with me, but again, it was just a lot of seeing the patterns and over and over and over again. And I'm still not even great at it. I am by no means an algorithms expert. I'm sure I would fail every Silicon Valley programming test, any software development test, probably fail it. Give me some DevOps stuff in there as well. I should be able to do okay. But yeah, I can never go out there and be a software engineer because again, I haven't I don't know the answers to all these. I've never been required to think that way for any of my jobs. So just not something that I've really spent a lot of time on. Git is love, Git is life. That is true. That's true. Very true. For sure. Git is great. Git is bigger than I thought it was. I really hate that when a lot of people, I see it all the time, when people are shown Git originally, even the Git walkthroughs, a lot of people, all they know is Git add, Git commit, Git push, and outside of that, there's nothing else outside. That's just what you do. And it gets really interesting showing people that hey, that is the tippiest tip of the iceberg, and when you're working with a team, there's way more pieces of it than that. But now Git is life. It's pretty great. I just completed Hello World for GoTrack. Congratulations. I'm glad you got through that. The mentor thing is real nice. I agree. Again, Exorcism has mentors who will go ahead and take a look at your code. And so basically, like you take this, I completed it too. Nice. Basically, it gives you some instructions. So it tells you what the problem's going to be. There's some extra stuff in here that we're going to go over. And you basically download it. Like, there's like a button over here. You download it. You work on it locally on your computer. You solve it, and then you push it back up to Exorcism. It's free. And if you're in the mentored mode, a mentor in a few days will come take a look at it, give you feedback on it. And then after you submit it, though, you can look at everyone else who's ever submitted it. You can look at their answer. So you can see, what you did good, what you did bad, maybe a new way to do something that might get you thinking a little bit differently. And every time you complete an exercise, more exercises open up. But you can also just like change off of mentored mode and switch to practice mode, and it'll give you all the exercises all at once, which is interesting. And again, there's a bunch of websites to do stuff like this. Exorcism is just a cool one, again, because it has that mentor track, which is pretty darn nice, if I do say so myself. Code Wars. I like Code Wars. I like Code Wars a lot. I think Code Wars has more interesting problems than Exorcism has, but I think, again, Code Wars doesn't have mentored mode, and Code Wars is like, honestly, it has like a lot on the screen. I think I'm thinking of Coding Kata. Let me see, Code Wars. No, there's like too much on the screen in Code Wars. Like, like when you get in there, there's like a lot going on, and I think it's a little bit confusing. That's why we're gonna go with this for now. To complete Twofer as well. I like Twofer. Twofer is going to be a fun one. Twofer is probably one that we could have done today. Maybe. Nah, this computer isn't set up for this right now. But yeah, that's all we got. That's all we have for tonight. What time is it? 10:45. Cool. So I love seeing other people's creative solutions to some of the problems. Yes, not intuitive, but those one-line solutions are great. I absolutely agree, Auto Exec. It was very interesting. I was actually, so I think I said it before, but we have like, again, a lot of people don't do it. That's why I like talking about it, because I'm pretty proud that the company I work for, Fearless, does something like this. But we have a level 1 DevOps engineer. She's on my team, and it's been very interesting. Like, we'll be going through something, and like, I'll be giving her the freedom to just go solve it, and she'll throw out an answer that is absolute. So like, you can't really do, it'd be an answer that you can't do, but like, it makes the things that she throws out make perfect sense. I would never, like, because I've learned the rules. I've worked with things enough to learn the rules and the guardrails. Like, having the freedom to just throw out something that, like, it makes perfect sense. It's like, man, I never would have even thought to do that. You can't do that, but it makes sense to how you came to that conclusion. Or sometimes it is just like, you actually, yeah, you can do that, and I would have never thought of it. It's always so fun, because it's just like, man, like that's like, I never saw that coming. And it's interesting to see how someone who has a completely different background can like, how they come to an answer. And I don't know, it's fun. It is fun watching that. Sometimes it's not intuitive at all, but it's always fun seeing how the person got there. Like, I can always see how they got there, and it's a fun exercise. I said you work for Fearless. Yes, I currently work for a company called Fearless. That actually might change in the next couple months. It's their fault. Not their fault. That makes it sound like they're firing me. No. I'm also a part of a program called Hutch. And that's actually where this started out of. Like, Fearless actually has an internal incubator, business incubator, and that I'm a part of. I graduated from year 1 back in December, and I just joined year 2. And part of the requirements for year 2 is that you have to be working on your business full time by sometime during this year. So things are gonna be tough, but no, absolutely. I probably won't be at Fearless for the entirety of this year, but yes, it is the Fearless in Baltimore. You know about it. If you're interested in it, let me know. Fearless, we almost always have positions open. I think we do have a DevOps position open right now. I think there's a bunch of stuff. It's easily I worked at a bunch of places. It's easily the best place I've ever worked. I actually, so I don't tell people this a lot, but I I don't think I ever talked about my career path on here, but I used to jump ship from companies. Like I would stay enough to learn as much as I could, and then when I would stay everywhere for like a year and a half at the most, and then I would jump ship and I would go to the next place so I could learn, and that was valuable. And I had never, before I came to Fearless, I had never been anywhere over a year and a half, and like I was at that point, I was already a couple years in my career. I wasn't super deep into my career, but I was definitely a solid mid-level engineer. And I've been at Fearless for over 3 years now, which is crazy. But again, it's because it is, I just don't think you can ask for more from a company. Like, I don't know. I never worked somewhere where it feels like they really care about you as a person. Like, I mean, people came to my wedding. Like, I don't know. They've been a part of my family's life since I've been here, grown here a lot. Like, I've never been anywhere, I've never been at a job that has so many like unique people, but like you love all of them. Like, there's no one here that I dislike. And I think we're almost at 100 people now, and so far, like, I haven't met a single person I'm like, I don't really like that guy, or I don't really like that girl, like, or that woman. So it's been a pretty great place. Like, I can't speak highly enough of this place. I hype it up everywhere I go. I think I have the most referrals here right now. I think I've got 3 people in right now, trying to get more. If anyone else wants to join the company. But yes, at the Spark building. I'm actually in the Spark building right now. This is Mastermind's office, but I'm actually in Spark right now. Yeah. Is it remote? I don't know. I think we might have, I think we're more open to remote positions now. I'll check it out. I've been trying, but don't have enough DevOps experience to get into Fearless. You would be surprised. Again, I think we're becoming more and more, like, the industry as a whole is becoming more and more understanding that like you've got to invest in your engineer. It's really difficult to hire. It really is. Like, it's hard to find people who do this stuff just because like tech moves so fast. Like, it's hard to find someone who's got all the chops to do the things that you need. So companies are getting more and more open to hiring more for potential rather than what you already have. So I don't know. I'd like, yeah, you say you don't have enough DevOps experience. I hope that's because, like, do you just feel that way, or have they already told you that? Like, I say try everywhere. Like, anywhere you want to work at, I would apply for anything, like literally for anything. I'm the total opposite. I've been working in the same building in one capacity for about 16 years. That's, man, I can't even imagine. I genuinely can't imagine that. I can't imagine working anywhere for 16 years, to be honest. We'll see. Don't suppose Fearless is in Texas, huh? So Fearless is not in Texas currently, but Fearless is in Montgomery, Alabama, as of this year. So we have an office actually in Montgomery, supporting the Air Force down there. So, but we have our own, like, this is our own space. The airmen actually, I think, work out of our space. Some do, but yeah. If you're in Alabama or willing to move to Alabama, and you don't want to come to Baltimore, you can go there. But yeah, I think they're more and more open to remote work. But I'll find out. I have no idea. I think every position is different depending on the team that you'll be on. Been in place for 15 years next month, man. I like, maybe one day. Well, not one day, because I hope to be a successful entrepreneur. So hopefully I'm not anywhere that's not my business for 15 years, but we'll see. Oh, awesome. You just got hired by Clarity. That's awesome. Oh, so you'll probably, yes, dope. Definitely reach out to me. Definitely reach out to me for sure. Like, I'll definitely see you. So Clarity's a partner of Fearless. Work together on a bunch of stuff. Sometimes you guys work out of I know some Clarity people work out of this building. So I will see you around. That's awesome. Congratulations on getting hired. New job. People at Clarity are awesome. I really love the guys at Clarity that I've met so far. Everyone's been super great. That's pretty cool. That's John telling me that. Oh, gotcha. So Adam, what I would do is see if he can give you any, like, so let me give you some insight into companies specifically who do government contracting. Because we do a lot of government contracting, one of the problems is for some of the stuff, there's a thing called the GSA schedule, and it's a way that you have to price candidates based on their years of experience, education level, etc. So sometimes because of government requirements, we have to hire to those standards. Like we have to hire someone with X level years of experience if the contract requires it, just because of the way that the government works. So I wouldn't take that as you don't have enough to be a DevOps engineer here, or to do whatever you wanted to do here. I would take that as, for the current position that's open, we have to adhere to a certain amount of experience for this position, and that, yeah, you may not be equipped for that one, but there may be others that you may be equipped for. So keep your eye on the postings, and like, seriously, keep applying. Like I can't tell you how many times things have come up and like, it's like, oh, this is way different from the last one. Like we just need someone who's hungry for this one. And so I would just keep my eye on that. Reach out whenever you see something. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll put your resume in if you like, or get it to where it needs to be. But yeah, it's a pretty cool place. And also, see if you can get some feedback. Maybe if it's just the years of experience, then that's one thing. But if you ever got to get to the phone screen, and maybe it was because of if you interview anywhere and it doesn't go well, or if it does go well and they tell you, you need this or that, like get some feedback from that. Get some, hey, like what more do I need? Like what did you feel like I didn't know? What could I have expressed better? And people are usually really kind about like giving you that feedback on just knowing what you're missing. And it's very easy to go back and then either get up to speed on those things or change those things. Maybe you just didn't explain something properly about yourself. So yeah. So I work on the my friend running Log UX Warlock project from Baltimore. Got travel to Montgomery all the time. Yeah, yep. I work on the SBA.gov project. So the Small Business Administration, we kind of run the digital footprint for the Small Business Administration. I'm actually the tech lead for that project. I've been on it since the beginning. Only project that it's the only project in my life that I've ever started on. So it's been pretty fun watching the like full, like, I don't know, the 1,000-foot view, as well as the nitty gritty every day, just kind of the evolution of a project, like the things that just happen on a project that kind of get it to where it is. Because every other time I've been on a project, I've kind of hopped in the middle, and like you have so many opinions about like why things are the way they are, and what was great, what wasn't. And then now being on a project from the beginning, you feel stupid because it's like, oh man, you just come in just judging. You just come in just judging for no reason, and like you don't have the history, you don't know how things evolved, and it's I don't know. It's been interesting. It's been an excellent learning experience. Excellent learning experience. I think it's pretty fun. I think anyone can get on a project at the very beginning. That'd be pretty cool, because I think it gives you different insight. Definitely a different insight. Lack of degree has been burning me. Really. I don't usually hear anyone asking about a degree, like trying to like degree verification. I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know. I know a lot of people in the industry without a degree, and like I've actually, unless you're trying to work for the government, so far I haven't seen that be a problem. I know the government has that as a requirement, which I think they're going to change, to be 100% honest, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I would keep looking. That's interesting. Reach out to me. Bruin Bob. I'll give you my email. Maybe we should talk. I would love to see, especially with that much experience. I think we could. Maybe I could help you find something. Sure. Cool. I'll be on Wing Ops. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I've actually been kind of jealous. Just watching Fearless grow. So I actually joined Fearless. I think when I joined, there were 30 something people at Fearless. And now there are about 100. So it's been pretty interesting, but like watching the growth and watching people move from project to project, it's been like, oh man, like, yeah, I love my project, but I was like, I would like to work on a different project. Sounds like all these cool things are coming about. So like all my friends and stuff have gone to new projects and are working on various projects like Wing Ops and stuff. So it's been pretty crazy. And I've been like, man, that would be cool just to kind of check out, just be on something new. But yeah. I've been watching you for hours and had no idea you're from Maryland. Oh yeah, I'm in Baltimore, working the same place. So awesome. Absolutely. Come up, introduce yourself. Yeah. Been a full stack dev for years and no degree. Was a for 7 years prior. You don't need a degree. Yeah, I don't think you need a degree. Like, it's again, unless you're working for the government. There are companies like, I know companies like Oracle and stuff will like you need it for, but it's for a vast majority of, I think, tech companies, it's not really a thing. Yeah, and I really do think it's going to change for government, Rex, because the government is having a heck of a time trying to keep good tech talent. Just because of the salaries, like they're hiring like people fresh out of school, or they're having to make them GS 13. So in the government, the GS scale only goes up to 15 max. Like it's like 1 to 15, 15 being the highest like unappointed position you can get, has the highest pay. There's some steps in there, but they're hiring people like fresh out of school, like a 13 or 14, because they have to, because of the salaries, because the salaries are already set, like for that GS scale, like they like have to hire these people at like super high levels. So I actually think they're going to change a lot of their. I really do think they're going to have to revisit requirements for how they hire these, because they just can't. I just don't think it's feasible for them to retain good tech talent internally. That's why they're doing a lot of contracting outwards, so they don't have to manage it. But I think they're going to have to change that. Certain area of the U.S. that is hiring devs more frequently. I'm in Michigan and it's seeing slim pickings. I mean, probably both coasts are the best place. Texas, definitely Texas, but the coast. Like I know right now, like DC area is hot. DC, Baltimore's pretty hot. North Carolina is hot. New York's hot. Texas though, like Austin and Houston, I think are pretty hot. I think, yeah, like as of right now, I think both coasts in Texas are really, really good places to go. But yeah, that's I don't see slim pickings. I see jobs everywhere. So just announcing again, Mastermind is bigger than just the streams now. Again, I just went through this business incubator. So the academy is always going to be the academy. It's always going to be free training on here, always. And the goal is to grow this. This is part of the business, but not the main part of the business. The main part of the business is to break the crappy recruiter model. So being more of talent advocates, being engineering advocates, really. Yeah. And so if you need a job, you can we'll work with you. But I'm not putting out too much information on it right now because I'm just solidifying some things. But yeah, just if you've had a bad experience with a recruiter before, then we're probably for you. But we will be working on that. We want to be able to give people an opportunity who, commit to learning this stuff, who go through the academy, the people who just want the opportunity, people who want to, get better jobs, move up from where they are now, or get into the industry. We want to really be able to advocate for those people. We don't want to just fill seats. So it'll be much bigger than that. A couple interviews in Fort Worth, Texas. Before going with clarity, Texas is definitely a popular place. It is, yeah. The house that I actually live at right now is a guy. I met a guy through a meetup here, and he was doing DevOps as well, but he was pretty new to the DevOps landscape. But he dove all the way in. And he knew so much. In my conversations with him, I thought he was like super crazy experience. I thought he had like 10 years of experience, because like we were having conversations and he was talking about like stuff that like you'd had to have seen before to talk about. And then I found out he had been working in the industry for like a year and a half, and I found out how much he was making. And I was like, dude, go interview now. And he started interviewing, and he got a job out in Texas. I think he almost doubled his salary. And he moved out, and at the exact same time we were looking to move. And so we're actually renting a house from him now. But yeah, Texas is the spot right now, I'm hearing, for jobs for sure. Try to get people to come to the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I mean, yes, I think that'll change though. I really do. I think people are gonna start going inland a bit, just because the like cost of living on the coast is just getting out of control. It's getting out of control, man. Like DC is wild, and right now Baltimore's fine, but they're building up Baltimore a lot, and I think it's gonna be bad here too. But yeah, when Spark do you work? I'll stop by when I start. So So during the day I actually work at a Fearless office. So like I work on the third floor, and one of the two offices on the third floor. But my office is also on the third floor. If anyone's trying to come here and set me up or something, we got security, so it's okay. Like I'll be safe. So you can't just get up here. You need a swipe card and everything. So I don't care if y'all know where I am, but it's public information. You can find it. I think it's on my site and everything. You know exactly where I am. Not a problem. I'll tell you guys where I work and everything. So you can find me if you want to find me, but I recommend you don't, because I'll know you're coming and there's security here. They'll take care of you and I'm from Baltimore, so you should be scared of me. Yeah, you like that? Reasons for you not to come to my place of employment. Let's see. Forgive me, it's not my intent to come in and complain about career opportunities. I like a lot in dev streams. Oh, no, not at all. Like, first off, if you are having whatever your experience is in the industry, whatever your experience currently is, that's your experience. That's a real thing. It is a real thing. If you're finding that not having a degree or whatever is a barrier for you, that's a barrier for you. It's like, depending on where you live, like that is a barrier for you. And so I just think reaching out to other people who may be able to help get you around that, or put you in I don't know, on the path to seeing places that's not an issue, is a good thing. But no, yeah, don't feel that way at all. This is the place for conversation. Talk about the things that are bothering you about the tech industry, to figure out what's hard. Clearing those obstacles, figuring out where you can go to get around those obstacles. It's, like I said, it's your experience, man. For the Nova, this cost of living is ridiculous. Absolutely. So I'm from the right outside of DC, and like that's why I'm in Baltimore right now. Like, yeah, I mean, salaries are high, but salaries in Baltimore are right behind. And the cost of living is way less. I had a friend who had a 1-bedroom, basically this little like hallway. He had a single bedroom, and it was like $1,800. I was like, a month. I was like, dude, this is like, you don't even have any space. Like, you could like sit on the couch and put your feet on the wall in front of you. Like, it was crazy. It was nuts. And it was $1,800, and it's getting way too crazy. New York's crazy. Like, it's all getting out of control. It really, really is getting out of control. Amazon's coming here. Amazon's coming to Northern Virginia, to Crystal City, and that's going to drive prices up. They're building everywhere in that area, all around the Beltway. Traffic's already terrible. It's out of control. So I think people will be looking for new places. I think that's why people are moving to like North Carolina. Like, North Carolina is becoming a pretty good hub, because again, right now at least, cost of living is nice. And before I was a real adult, I didn't really care about that stuff. I was like, that's not a big deal. Like, it is. That's a huge deal. Now I'm spoiled. Because I have it's just me and my wife and my dog. I got a big dog though, but we have a 4-bedroom, 3 bedrooms and a finished basement house, and it's compared to all those places, it's only $1,500 a month. Like, down in DC area, something like that will cost you $2,500 to rent, like in the outskirts of DC. So like, I don't know, man. Like, I have a yard and everything, driveway. I have like a big yard. We hosted a big cookout there. Like, I don't know. I'm spoiled, man. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do if I ever have to get out of here, or when the area gets all crazy. Like, I don't want to pay a bunch of money. Like, I have so many other things that I like to spend my money on. Like, a house is just, people want to work hard and get a big house. Not me. I don't care about my house at all. I go there to go to sleep and to put stuff in the refrigerator, maybe to watch some TV. I like to spend my money on other things. So I don't know, man. I'm not moving anywhere that's expensive. So that's why I'm glad tech is an industry that allows a little more accepting of remote work than anything else. Got a tour of the place when I interviewed there, and they told me beer on tap. Yes, there's beer on tap here. So if you're gonna work anywhere, work somewhere where there's beer on tap. I'm staying away from it right now because I want to meet my weight goals first before I start drinking after work again. But yeah, beer on tap. There's wine stuff available to you. It's nice. It is nice to like you're having a terrible day, like sometimes our team, like if we have something crazy going on, something broke or something, and all day we were troubleshooting stuff, yeah, 2 o'clock kids, we be like, man, hey, you want to grab a beer real quick, we head out, grab a beer, keep working. It's really nice. It is really nice to have a lot of these creature comforts around, like coffee and all that stuff available to you. It's like super nice. Definitely super nice. So apartments nearby is pretty expensive. Yeah. So it's funny because I hadn't driven over on the other side of the harbor in a while. My wife drove past the other day, and like they built that up so much. So I bet prices are just going up, getting crazy right now. Trying to find a place to live right now. Yeah, there's a bunch of places around. A lot of people live in. There's this apartment building that's like pretty close to here that people seem to like. I don't know. Working from home is a godsend. Yeah, I gotta be honest. I work from home. I had two fully remote jobs, and yes, I think it's a godsend. Like if you have something else that like needs to take your focus. So if you have like kids or you have like another business or something, I think it's super helpful because of its convenience. But like, man, working from home really bothered me when I was working from home. It always felt like I was working even when I wasn't. Like I was getting like cabin fever. Like it was crazy. Like it got to the point where I would get off work and then I would go to the gym even though I didn't even want to go to the gym, just to get out of the house, and I would go sit at Starbucks for hours. Like I would go to Starbucks with my laptop just to be out of the house. Like it was nuts. But I think now that I have a little more of a focus, and because it would be convenient for me at that time, like I was like out of school and like I was like living at home with my parents to save money, and I had nothing to do. Like I had nothing to take my focus, so I just felt like I was always at work. So maybe I try it again. But yeah, working from home is it can be super helpful. Let's see. But it's also right in the middle of a power plant. Yeah, which is a good thing sometimes, but terrible things at other times. Showed up there and I was looking for Spark. My first time here, I was late to my interview because I could not find the door to get in here. Cool, Long Belly, gotta bounce. See you on Tuesday. I hate the term craft beer snobs. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a craft beer snob, but I do like. I am relatively particular about my craft beers. I don't think I'm a snob though. I'll drink just about anything. I'm an aficionado. There we go. You guys are always giving me the words that I need. I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not a snob, but I do like craft beers. I was introduced to the world of craft beer, and I like craft beers. But again, that's why it's tough right now to kind of stay away from them right now. Beer puts on a lot of weight, but I don't know. It's getting easier and easier. But I'm not like, I gotta have craft beer. I will happily drink a Bud Light. I will happily drink Blue Moon. Craft beer snobs take Blue Moon drinkers and be like, oh, you're fake. Like that's not a real beer. But no, man, I love me some Blue Moon. Like I said, I'll drink Bud Light. That's what people bought. Like I don't care. Anything more than Angry Orchard Smirnoff Ice makes me cringe. That's fair. That is completely fair. I think Angry Orchard is great. I think Smirnoff Ice is amazing. So here, we don't have that many flavors of Smirnoff Ice. I went to Costa Rica. They had like a ridiculous amount of flavors. So we had to get them all and we literally were in Costa Rica, like doing like a Smirnoff Ice tasting and like pouring them in like a little bit into everyone's wine glass, pouring cans of Smirnoff Ice into people's like wine glasses and tasting them all. Because they have way more flavors than us. It was like 12 or 13 flavors. Pretty interesting. But that's cool. Cool. Oh, actually, I do have one update. My keyboard game. I've been waiting for my keyboard parts. I got them in. I finally got my switches. So almost built. Just wanted to give an update on this. It's almost built. I got my switches in place. These are the I know most of you aren't keyboard snobs, but I know there's like one or two keyboard people on here. I've got these are the Zelios V2s. I got these switches. The problem is this is a hot swappable board, so it's not done. But the the plate didn't fit. The plate that I got is not compatible with this layout. I'm gonna get a plate, I'm gonna throw these keycaps on, and then I will have a complete keyboard. I have a custom cable on the way as well, custom USB cable, super expensive, but I'm super excited about this, like really excited about this. I feel pretty nerdy for being this excited about it. But after this build's done, I'm gonna do another real build where I solder and everything. But for those like 2 keyboard people that are on here, maybe they're not on right now because no one responded, I wanted to give you an update on that because I was excited about it. I actually might change all the keycaps and use it right after this, but see. But cool, 11:13. I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta go to work tomorrow. See you on Tuesday for the continuation of this. If you are doing the Python Bootcamp tomorrow, we're gonna be doing basically a quarter of what we did tonight, but a lot more problems, but in Python, because again, that is an intro to coding course. So we'll be moving a lot slower, but it's only programming for the 12 weeks. Here, we're going over all kinds of stuff for 12 weeks. Yeah, reach out to me if you guys have any questions. Again, I caught up on all of my messages, all of my emails, so you should be getting quick responses from me from now on. Sorry about that. I will be fully aware to tell everyone that I will be slow in responding to you next time in the first week, because man, y'all blew me up. I didn't realize how many questions people were gonna ask. But I'm good to go. I'm good to go now. Thanks for another great stream. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for sticking around for this long, and I will see you all next time. Have a good night.